welcome to which teams is it? Don't Press Tab versus Mystic Ninja Cyclones draft for game one has already begun. Starting off with a Yon and Nunu ban, and then Ash and Akshan for the side of Mystic Ninja Cyclones. The showing that Don't Press Tab had with Ash and Akshan last week was quite intimidating. So it only makes sense that it is banned away this week by Mystic Ninja Cyclones. The mono cast by Sunny. Yeah, we are currently looking. There's a couple different people who might be able to come in later to co-cast with me, but for now it is only Sunny on the cast all by himself, forever alone. Uh, First band phase is finished out with a Mumu and Vigar taking off a control option, and then a solid engage and frontline. The B1, it looks like is going to be ADC, and they choose Caitlyn. So I think that there's a really good possibility that we're seeing, a jungler that's able to give up some resources so that they're able to play for bot lane a lot more. Um, Mystic Ninja Cyclones responds to that with a Zed pick. Not every day that you see assassins in comp. I don't think a lot of players are at the level that they can really pull it off, but I mean, I'm excited to see it, really. I think that assassins kind of spice up the game a lot more. And then Nocturne. All right, so Mystic Ninja Cyclones has already decided Rob will always be gray screened. They do not want him seeing any color this game. So Don't Press Tab is going to have to pick something to really help out Rob or Goblin. Um, the Thresh, that's probably, that's a good start, I think. I think that it's a bit difficult to peel a Zed from Caitlyn, but I think Nocturne is not really the biggest hindrance for the Thresh, or like it doesn't take a lot of talent to actually be able to peel the Nocturne off. A Pantheon. I think the Pantheon would probably be going mid here. The base armor on Pantheon is actually like 40 or something like that, so really good into 80 matchups. I'm pretty sure like he has positive win rate into almost like every squishy AD mid laner or top laner. And then the Ziggs, that is 100% Thim's Ziggs in the carry role. Can't even really call it ADC anymore. Especially when we're referring to Thim. He really enjoys playing these mages that are able to just kind of like auto clear. And we'll see if Tubby actually opts out to play a more roam heavy support, something that's able to kind of get into the mix with the Nocturne, with the Zed, and really put the fact that Ziggs should never be in danger to good use, because he should just be auto clearing towers. Like the moment he gets Lost Chapter, he should be one shotting like any waves. Second ban phase will be Ornn, Seraphine. Seraphine, good ban away from Tubbyton, and then the Rumble ban as well. I think that it will probably end up being Engage CC for the side of Mystic Ninja Cyclones on their top laner. So I don't know if the Rumble ban was the greatest idea. Obviously, it gives a lot of backline access with the ultimate, and I mean, it does a lot of damage. So even if they don't have the most CC, I think that it is still not the worst pick in the world just to kind of chunk out a ADC or a control mage. The Poppy is picked up by Mystic Ninja Cyclones, and then the Poppy, and we'll see B5 here in a moment for Don't Press Tab. And I'm unsure if the Poppy is a flex pick between jungle and top. I'm gonna assume the Pantheon is going mid against the Zed and Diana. So we'll actually have to wait and see. Okay, Lilia. That is much less likely to be going top lane. Obviously, I do think that there are some players in Summit that are able to pull off the Lilia top or the Lilia mid, but I do think that most of the players just play it jungle. And I do think that it will be a Poppy top, and then the response to that is Nasus. I can't say I don't like a Nasus pick here. It's seen mixed reviews in previous games for Summit already this season. I believe it is 0-2, but it did do some stuff in each game. I think that both the games that had Nasus in it were winnable. They did both go pretty late. And I think that just looking off of draft, I'm going to have to bid my points onto Mystic Ninja Cyclones. They have a lot of backline access. They have an absolute monstrous tank with the Nasus. And obviously they have a Soraka to top it all off. The ulti cross map, the silence onto the dive or even the Lilia will potentially be instrumental to be like to allow Mystic Ninja Cyclones to get onto the Caitlyn to actually be able to one shot the Lilia before she just like sprints at Mach 10 away. And I am going to go to break here, but we will be back afterwards with the beginning of game one. Welcome back to game 1 of DPT versus MNC. Had to think about that one really fast. I'm actually joined now by Giuseppe Hack. Um, we enjoyed the first one so much we had to go on a second date. Soon enough, like we're gonna have to come up with a couple name, but I don't know if it would be like Sunny Hack or Giuseppe Blues.
Sunny Hack sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually am
Uh,
like a huge fan of Giuseppe Blues.
yeah, it's not bad either. Oh, did this not get announced? I don't think it did.
Yeah, unfortunately, it did not get announced. I did put a message in general on the Discord, but I don't think I have.
Yeah. No, I think someone's putting it up right now. So that's good. Yeah, I was tuned into the quadcast. That shit is pretty lit as well. We got a couple good streams of this one. So I guess you can kind of pick your poison, whatever you wanna watch. But yeah, it should be a pretty good game. I'm pretty excited.
Just a little bit of level 1 shenanigans from DPT, showing 4 topside, threatening an invade, maybe a deep ward, but nothing really
Yeah.
comes of it.
Pretty interested, honestly, to see Ranger on the Nocturne. I do think leashing here could put the Ninja Cyclone's bot lane in like a little bit of peril. Just because like Caitlyn Thresh level 1 is really strong and they're already on the wave.
Yeah,
So that's going to be
I
a
was
really good
just
start.
about to point that out too. Like Caitlyn wants to just auto shove the wave. If the Caitlyn kind of knows what she's doing, then they're going to start on the wave no matter what, even if they're junglers, spam pinging them in solo queue to come and leash. But obviously it
Yeah.
is Goblin piloting the champion, so.
Yeah. Ain't no way that guy is leashing, man. 0% chance.
XD lose or Gargura's like begging him to leash, and Goblin's just like not in my elo.
Yeah,
Like,
Leashless Lily is a little tough, but it's doable. Rissy with the early prio on Asuna. I guess it makes sense, sitting on the Nasus, not too much you can do for the first 5 levels, especially without Grasp. He actually has Fleet Footwork, which I'm not sure if that's too typical. I feel like Nasus top usually comes with Grasp or Phase Rush, depending on whether or not you're trying to survive the lane or play later. Only
I think
John
I think it's a little bit of like idea of like trying to not interact as much as possible. The Poppy does win like early levels. Like you already see like the pretty like hefty trade of like the Q and shield poke. So I don't know if that's something that Asuna accounted in for. I don't think that it's the worst idea. But
Yeah. No, I mean Asuna, this guy is like kind of a prodigal talent. If he could figure out how to win, I think he'd be really good. Um, like I say that, but it's like actually not flame. Like every single solo queue game I've ever played with him, he plays really well, but we lose. And so I think like he's just missing maybe just like one component in like the macro game. But he plays lane really well and he fights really well. It's just like something is gonna click, and then he's going to be a scary player. Honestly, I think Mystic Ninja Cyclones is a team that, personally, I had them rated really, really highly at the start of the season. I had them power ranked as the best AD carry, and I had Ranger as the 3rd best jungle. So I thought they were going to kind of pop off, but XD losing it here in the mid lane takes a big chunk out of neutral as well. Does not find a kill. Ranger there to protect his mid laner. But now Gar is here as well. Nocturne drops the fear chains, but Lily able to just F1 away.
I do like to see that Ranger on the Nocturne is a little active on the map even before he is level 6. That is like the most crucial time whenever you're playing against a Nocturne to potentially do something on the map to try to gain a lead somewhere before the Nocturne has ultimate. So I do like to see that Ranger is kind of, hovering a lane, showing in a lane, pressuring somebody out. We're actually seeing 3 people mid here from the side of Mystic Ninja Cyclones just to try to get this wave pushed, I think.
Yeah, they're really trying to bail out the Zed. It is a really, really tough matchup. Actually, losing it, this guy is like a menace to society. Like, he goes like 14 kills in the auction, doesn't find the win somehow. But he's another player that just like will just absolutely stomp you in lane. And even during the Summit face-off, he performed super, super well there too. We did see his Akshan getting banned while I was eating dinner during the draft phase. And now Venom stepping up for the hook and does find the Underlord Tubbyton, but the state of the wave means the Goblin doesn't really want to walk up here. So nothing will come of that hook. Venom on his signature champion. It is going to be a little bit difficult for Goblin to stay alive in this one. I'm sure you'd agree, Sonny, with the dive that the
Yeah,
Cyclones have
there's a
drafted.
lot of backline access, not just with the Nocturne and Zed, but obviously after the Caitlyn uses E, probably gonna have Gale Force as well. Then there's even like a Ziggs to follow up.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was thinking. I feel like if the Zed cannot solo kill the Caitlyn, I think the Ziggs damage on top means it's pretty much a guaranteed kill. So I think having Flash is going to be really, really important for Goblin. I am almost certain he would go Gale Force this game. Um, so that's going to be useful as well. But, you know, DPT has a lot of damage options. The Lilia and the Pantheon can also make a lot of plays and probably carry a fight. So it isn't the end of the world if Goblin goes down. This isn't the days of old where Goblin is the sole chance of his team winning. He does have a decent supporting cast these days, even though they haven't quite been able to find the wins so far this season.
I mean, there's actually interaction I was just thinking about that I didn't really highlight whenever I was talking about draft, but the top laners being top laners here, maybe Asuna's
She
able to
pops the
run
ghost
down.
and the ult. Brissy, you are walking the wrong way, brother. Flashes back to the red side of the map, and Asuna picks up the first blood on the Nasus.
That is going to be a very scary puppy in the top lane if he's able to just repeatedly solo kill the Poppy. The Poppy is supposed to be able to bully out the Nasus for the first few levels, but especially after that solo kill, then you already see like a 10 CS lead, roughly, you know, almost 15 for the side of the Nasus, and obviously the kill goal. That is... Goblin's probably sweating a little bit right now. But
Yeah.
I do think that if they're able to generate a solid lead on the bot side, then I think it'll be okay. I think that ADCs are very capable of burning down tanks, and I think that they have really solid kite and like disengage to kind of keep the Nasus away from their ADC. And obviously, like the Lilia is going to be doing a lot of damage to it as well.
I feel like this is kind of playing AD carry. Like you watch your top laner die in the 1v1, and like you don't say anything, but like internally you're just fighting demons. You know, I don't know what Goblin is thinking. He's like, I'm up 16 CS, and it's not going to mean anything because I'm just going to get two-shot by Nasus. And honestly, that might be true,
Two
but
shot.
yeah, being generous. Ooh, the gank now towards the top side, trying to get some redemption towards Asuna, but now XT losing it. Ooh, actually is able to invuln two shurikens. He might have died there, but he comes out A-okay in the 1v1. Will have to take a recall. Now Brissy pushing a big wave into Asuna, which will allow Guard to go ahead and start up the Rift Herald. And it doesn't look like there's going to be a contest on that objective with Ranger all the way on the bot side. And Brissy really moving these minions.
So I love to see that the Nocturne ult, even though Nocturne did not R2, the Paranoia did actually affect mid and top, even though I'm pretty sure that Ranger was looking to try to ult bot there. It did kind of like...
Yeah, a little bit of a scrap here. Brissy goes down again, but Asuna will be traded and neutral. Zoro goes down as well. Gar finds a kill, and XC losing it finds one as well. And it's going to be a 2-for-1. And the side of DPT did... Who picked up the Herald? I have
Shelly
not
got
seen that on
spawned.
the
She's
Swiveling.
running top lane.
Oh yeah, Shelly is long gone. So now Ranger under fire here at his own wolves. He's gonna have to use the flash over the wall. Actually losing it, follows like the psycho he is, and collects the kill onto the Mystic Ninja Cyclones captain.
Again, another character that you don't want to see getting ahead early. the Pantheon very easy to execute on, and obviously it does fall off once, you know, everybody's 6 items, but I think that if the Pantheon has just like 1 item in advantage, then he probably has like higher burst damage than just about every other champion in the game.
I mean, Pantheon, I think scales a little better than people like to give him credit for. He does have a bit of shred. And honestly, like if you're a Ziggs, a 6-item Pantheon is going to one-shot you regardless of what he is unable to do to your front line. Another skirmisher in the top lane. The Wither goes down onto Brissy. He does not yet have Flash available, and Gargara is running for the hills. I feel like they maybe could have fought this one, but instead they're going to let the Poppy go down a 3rd time here. And now Neutral Zero with a bit of free time on the tower, able to knock off a plate.
I mean, that's just a very scary Nasus, I do think. And going back to the Pantheon scaling a little bit better, I think that he actually scales pretty well if he takes Conqueror, and obviously he opted out to take PTA, and it's more for the potential 1v1, the solo kills in the mid lane. I don't think that is a bad choice. I do think that Conqueror actually works very well with Pantheon once it starts getting into, you know, like 2-3 item ranges, whenever he will have Black Cleaver and maybe something like DD. It's actually kind of remarkable because it's like, out of all the champions that use Conqueror, I feel like Pantheon with Conqueror is probably like the most noticeable for me. And it might just be because I'm used to playing an ult mid.
Conqueror won't save him here though as he goes down to the gank. Ranger finds the kill. Gargara has arrived. Does have the ultimate available. He's going to go ahead and pop the Drowsy. He can use all of his spells, but the smite to proc the bonus magic damage will find the kill, so it ends up being a 2-for-1 trade. Not sure that was worth for DPT.
Yeah, I think that was a little greedy. I think that he probably could have waited till he tagged the Zed with one of his abilities before he ults, and then probably could have kited them out a little bit because the Nocturne already ulted. Obviously, the Zed's probably going to be chasing with his abilities, but I think that he could have played that a little bit slower and still gotten one and perhaps been able to save his life.
Yeah. It was 1-for-1. The issue is now this Zed sitting at 3-1-1. Again, Goblin. This guy is on, 9 CS a minute, but like the voices in his head are definitely getting louder as he looks towards the mid lane. 18 stacks on the whatever that item is called. My mind is totally blanking. The Hydra. Yeah, the Ravenous Hydra. 300 gold bounty on the Zed. Goblin is heavily out farming every single player in the game though. 30 CS now over Thim. Very, very impressive. But, you have to ask, is it going to matter into a Nocturne who is building some sort of lethality? He's looking like maybe the Duskblade. Perhaps Yomu. So it's going to be tough for the Caitlyn, regardless of farm.
Oh yeah, and he did opt out for the static shift. I think that in this game he's just trying to move waves, contest the wave clear of the Ziggs, try to keep up towers as much as possible, just try to delay the game, allow for him to get online, allow the Lilia to get online, allow Brissy on the Poppy to get enough items to really.
Ooh, that's going to be huge. Bowling balls. The Drowsy comes down in the directed cam, does a bit of trolling. Gargara finds the damage immediately. The Ziggs ultimate will not find any real damage, but the Nocturne is immediately on the Goblin. Oh, but the Lantern from Venom will save his AD carry now. Ranger taken very low. XP losing it, cleans up the first kill of the fight, and now Neutral Zero is here. He goes for the ultimate on Gar, but will not find the kill. Yes, he will with the Ignite. Now Neutral forced to run away. And the members of Mystic Ninja Cyclones, 3 of them survive with just a shred of health, and the fight overall goes 1-for-1. Ooh, but they're not done yet. Venom moving forward, he immediately hits the flash play and finds the hook onto Tubby, but stays under the tower range, so he will die. XP using it, grabs another kill. No, 2 kills to Goblin, and now XP using it finds the shutdown on the Neutral Girl. Venom, your death was not in vain, but Asuna claims another on the top side. Overall, I think that was pretty good for DPT.
I agree. I think that Goblin getting 2 kills there was probably the best thing that just happened for the side of Don't Press Tab. I think that they need to put as much gold onto their ADC as possible. I'm sure that all the viewers already know he is the win con. He is the player that they want to be playing for in the laning phase, and even in the mid game. They want to give a lot of resources over to their ADC so that he has the best chance of um, being able to just survive these fights, putting out as much damage as possible.
Is sitting on a ton of gold right now. Really needs to take a reset, which he is going to go ahead and do now. Venom on the roam. He's going to walk around towards mid. Maybe look at the Zed, but not a super gankable lane. It's a Herald started up. Austin is still dominating on the top side, means that the Nasus is going to be a problem. And DPT can't really contest these top objectives unless XD losing it is maybe able to find priority and make a play. They go on to neutral as Earl. Venom drops the lantern, but it's stolen by Gargura. Is he able to pick it up? He is. The paranoia comes down and the Drowsy only finds one. Gargura will be taken out at the start of the fight. Now Brissy in hot pursuit of Venom with the max range hook onto Asano. Actually losing it is here. He one-taps Ranger, but now the Goon Squad has arrived. The Cyclones have the numbers. XD losing it immediately. Death marked by Neutral Earl. Venom will be cleaned up by Austin, but Goblin has also roamed to the fight, and it's now moving more even, but Goblin needs to be a bit careful here. The Nasus is out of mana, but he's still a formidable foe. The Q will not connect, and the fight ends going 3 for 1, plus the Herald for DPT. 3 deaths, 1 kill, but no, Goblin. Okay, he will survive.
I mean, that's just such a scrappy fight. I do love to see that DPT are looking for these fights. Unfortunately, though, Caitlyn was not there at the beginning of the fight. I think that if the Caitlyn was there whenever his team, whenever Goblin's team chose to take the engagement, then I think the fight goes a lot differently. Thim and Tubbyton both showed up on screen at like the exact same time. So it just like automatically swayed the numbers advantage into the side of Mystic Ninja Cyclones.
So, I mean, that play goes in their favor. We'll see what Gar is able to accomplish with the Rift Herald. But if they don't get a tower, it's not going to be worth it. Now, Asuna in the 1v2. Venom connects the hook. Actually losing it, does not want to take this fight, though. And Venom going to be in a little bit of trouble. Asuna pops the ulti and smacks the Thresh. Not really a play down here. Gar is moving as well. They might try to wait for the ulti to expire. First, going to be left in the 1v1 against the Zed. Should just be able to clear up these waves here.
These really aren't lane assignments that DPT wants. They want to keep the Poppy probably against the Nasus, just allowing the Poppy to kind of scale up. Just even if it's a losing matchup, I think that is still the most optimal thing for the side of DPT. I don't think that they want the Pantheon in the side lane versus Nasus unless they're about to like overload the lane with like 4 people to try to collect the shutdown on him. I don't think that it's
Brissy, the death mark comes down. Brissy taken very, very low. The kill ulti comes down as well. Brissy walks back into the shadow and will be taken down. Neutral Earl tries with the fancy feet, but the smite will claim the shutdown. So the play actually goes gold positive for the side of DPT. But Brissy finds his 6th death of the game. And now Venom with the beautiful hook onto Tubby, but he's all alone. And I do agree, Sunny. I think you honestly want the Pantheon into the Zed. Probably just because he wins that 1v1. And the Poppy should be able to survive Nasus. The bowling ball knocks down a single pin. Ranger is hit. Gargura does not have the ultimate available, though. So, crucially, no Caitlyn ultimate, no Poppy ultimate, and no Lilia ultimate for the side of DPT. The Neutral Earl not back on the map for 3 more seconds as the Cyclones are going to go ahead and start the Drake. Brissy on the flank. Goblin is now making his way over. This could be a 4v5 if they take the engage before the Zed arrives. Venom walks up and finds the hook on Asuna. Ranger immediately goes into the paranoia and Gar is down. Really foully knocked him, doing so much damage, but he's traded immediately on the backside, and now Asuna trying to take down XP, losing it. Sim is firing the spells, but he doesn't quite have the damage down. Venom goes back in, whiffs the plays. Neutral Earl finds the kills, and now the death mark on the Goblin. How can this be outplayed? It simply can't. They do. Oh, Goblin is able to trade the kill, so it goes 3 for 4. But with XT losing it and Venom both incredibly low, and Thim with about half his health, the Drake will not go down to anyone.
Venom is just on one with his hooks right now. He's landing multiple hooks in a fight onto valuable targets. I think that the first one that he did land went onto the Nasus, which is not the most optimal target, but I do think that starting the fight off with landing the Q onto him, the Glacial over top of it, and kind of keeping him a little stunted in his ult or even like his ult ghost into running at his backline, I don't think it is a bad start to a fight, especially if they're looking at a 4v4. They already know where the enemy team is.
Yeah, definitely. I think hooking the Nasus, allowing your team to chunk him a little bit is good. What honestly surprised me there is Venom is able to find another hook, and he's actually going to take the play, but it's immediately spell shielded. If Zed takes the shadow, the Thresh might just be dead. He walks back, but he's incredibly low now as the TP comes in from Oxana. We're going to get round 2 here at the Drake. XC losing it already on the front line. Venom very, very low, and DPT does not have the vision control. I'm not sure if they can contest this. Yeah, Venom is going to go ahead and channel the recall. Gar moving towards the mid lane. Actually using
Poppy
it in the
does have
squad.
ultimate here.
Yeah, that's true. The knockout could be absolutely huge if Brissy is able to charge that one up and maybe find Asuna or even the Ziggs, honestly. Any champion that can't get back to the fight. As Gar is just going to go for the steal, and he finds it again. He's 2 for 2 of the smites. Actually losing it is already onto the backline. Gargara is able to flash away from Rangers. The paranoia comes down. The drowsy in response. Lord Covington trying to keep his jungler alive as Brissy now finds the stun onto the wall. The Ziggle will not find more than a single target as Gar is now on the backline. Asuna not able to trade a kill yet. Brissy is incredibly low, and TPP are going to be able to cut this one out. No, actually using it from the flank, immediately finds its way onto them, and the Ziggs is down. Ranger very low will be the next target. He's taken down by Gar. It's 3 for 0. Baron is on the table. Mid tower is on the table. DPT get the Drake and win the fight.
So actually, Asuna chased the Pantheon whenever XD losing it ulted in like across the entire river. Then I'm pretty sure Asuna was chasing the Pantheon down there. I wasn't looking at the minimap to see exactly where Asuna was headed, but I think that's like the only possible answer to why he was so far out of the fight, and that's just not what you want to see from your 2.5 item Nasus at this point in the game.
Yeah, no, he needs to be withering the Caitlyn. Honestly, even withering the Lilia. Gar was able to do a ton of work in that fight.
I mean, I think that if you pick Lilia and you don't do a ton of work, you'd probably be on a different champion for that game. Obviously, I do think that there are some team comps where the champion doesn't do very well, but overall, I think Lilia is a very strong pick. Obviously, very strong AoE, a lot of DOT, a lot of just like burn damage, and then of course the ultimate is able to just completely turn fights.
Yeah, I mean, so Thim is on an item and a half here on the Ziggs. Goblin is on 2 items on the Caitlyn. It's a 40 CS diff. And maybe it's just kind of the way that the lane plays out. But with Baron buff now, and then the top side for DPT all have bounties. Brissy comes back. He's 0-6. He's now 2-7. And I thought he played the fight pretty well. So it's going to be an uphill battle for the Cyclones. The Zed is still very strong. The Nasus is still very strong, but your bot and jungle are pretty far behind at this point. And I'm not really sure how they win this. Maybe through the side lane. I think they might have the scaling advantage, but it's a little hard to say with the Ziggs bot. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that DPT definitely have the scaling advantage. I think that Nasus does have the infinite scaling. Obviously, they do have a mage of their own on the side of Mystic Ninja Cyclones in the Ziggs. But I think Lilia herself scales way better than Nasus just because her entire kit is meant to kill champions like the Nasus. And then obviously they do have an ADC on the side of DPT, and ADCs just have the best scaling in the game generally.
Yeah, the Drowsy finds 2. Venom is chunked, but it doesn't even matter. The fight is already over. It's a double kill for Goblin. Neutral Zerl forced to flee, forced to take the blast plant out. Thim trying to do a bit of zone control around the tower, but this one is almost certainly going to fall as the Baron minions are here. Goblin is here. XC losing it, maybe looking for the dive. Nope, Thim is able to retreat to the safety of his inhibitor tower. So that's 2 towers now in the mid lane for DPT off the Baron push. They're going to try to get one more, but with Asuna here to defend, I'm not sure if they can get this one. Neutral Zerl maybe looking for the play. He's going to get chunked by the spear as soon as he tries to walk up, though.
Yeah, just like the finish of my thought, obviously Caitlyn isn't the hardest scaling ADC, but I do think that ADCs have the best scaling in the game. I think that marksman items kind of give the most for scaling whenever it comes to crit. I think that crit is probably the biggest part of that. 'cause it's just double damage over
Yeah,
and
they're
over
also
and
just
over.
like piss expensive. You know, like
Yeah.
the 80 carry at 45 minutes just has more gold in their inventory than the tank, you know, just because the items are so expensive. Yeah,
I
so it's
I
gonna
I
be
do like to see that the Poppy, Brissy on the Poppy did go DS despite being in like a matchup that loses later or that uh, he fell behind in. I do think that it against the Nasus, it's a really good option. It should help you match him in side lane a little bit more now. Obviously, um, the gold difference in the top lane has shrank a little bit. I'm pretty sure, and if it's grown, it's not really as noticeable now. With the Poppy sitting on 2 items, the Nasus almost at 3, but his third item is looking like it's gonna be Thornmail. I know that a lot of summoners love clowning on finishing Thornmail. I'm pretty sure it's like a 40 armor difference though between Bramble Vest and Thornmail. Just saying, it's a lot of gold, or that's a lot of armor. I mean,
yeah, it's just, you know, without the heal cut increase, it is like a little tough. As we're gonna get, I don't know, this is like round 3 of the Fire Drake fight. But already the zone control from the Caitlyn making its presence known. Finn is trying to poke over the wall. Goblin standing forward pretty boldly here. Knows that his team is quite a bit stronger and knows that he has the traps in the corridors. If Mystic Ninja Cyclones do try to walk up, they will take a headshot. Asuna is just going to go ahead and start the fight off. He withers Goblin, but immediately gets sent back to the Bronx by the Popular this time. Ranger is onto the Lily, but he's exhausted, now forced to run away. Lord Covington taken very, very low by Brissy. Venom now will be the next target. Asuna is going to be able to collect him as Neutral Soul goes onto Goblin, but the Stomp Launch is absolutely huge. It'll keep Caitlyn alive. The net shot is good for gold, and now Asuna in hot pursuit, but he gets rooted by the trap. Darker, and now alone on the backline, is able to pop them. Lord Covington, you are next. The DPT captain and jungler goes nuclear on the backline as the rest of the team heals Goblin, and it's another fight won.
I mean that was just, you know, at the beginning of the fight, I was like, oh, Goblin's literally standing right next to the Nasus. It's a wrap. But the Poppy ultimate, the dive that came out from the Zed, I'm pretty sure was matched with Goblin just going over the wall of Dragon Pit, so that he was able to wrap around behind Red Buff and kind of like reassess the fight from there, which was just really good positioning by Goblin, and obviously the ultimate from um, Brissy 100% saved his life there. I think that if the ultimate is not up or if it whiffs, then Goblin's just dead. The fight's lost. But
It's honestly just so good because like waiting out Nasusol is really really huge if you actually can do it. The other thing though, like we were talking about Austin and Stormmail earlier, someone pointed out in chat, there's like no healing on the DPT team. Like Lilia has Conquer, and that's pretty much it. And so, like the item has value, and it kind of prevents Caitlyn from hitting him. But the Grievous passive, that's like unused gold value. Like if you think of stats in terms of gold. So maybe there was a more optimal choice, but it does make it so that Caitlyn can't just free hit him quite as much as now Baron. Maybe on the table, yeah, they're gonna go ahead and start this one up. The Scryer's Orb from Thim will fish it out immediately. But I'm not sure what they can do here. This is not a Zed with teleport. He has Ignite. Brissy does have teleport in the bot lane, and Neutral Zero has no way to cancel that TP. As Ranger, you're gonna have to be a hero, but it's already dead. Blue team is slain. Baron Nashor, Gargura, 3 for 3 on the smite so far, and now DPT in a commanding lead. Neutral Zero tries to take the 1v1 onto Brissy, but the outplay, he finds the stun on the tower now. Brissy trying to claim the kill. The Sirocco will come down from Lord Covington. Brissy with the bounce back, man. This guy was getting clapped, and now he's doing the clapping.
yeah, I was really rooting for him there. Let me tell you.
Yeah, you
And
know, he's had a bit of a rough go, but almost got the solo bola.
they don't
How
know.
is this allowed?
They don't know he's
Asuna is
there.
such a troll, man.
Oh my goodness. I was just like looking top. I'm like, do they know he's there? And then he
Spectator
like
bug,
stops
though.
his back.
Yeah, it's got to be spectator bug. I like surely they saw him. Yeah, Asuna with a great escape. Kind of fallen off here, 5-3-5. Started really strong, but has been controlled in the fights. Percy's poppy ultimate has been a big part of that as the flash play out of the Soraka Venom. Playmaker, Haymaker, the support is down. Ranger tries to go in onto Execution, but this Pantheon has a ton of health. He's got Spear of Chosen and Black Cleaver. As now Percy onto the backline. Ranger very low, Thim already very low, and Gargura finds the Drowsy onto the MNC bot laner, and the game will end here almost for sure. Oh, actually, the health bars of DPT pretty low. Neutral as well. This could be your moment. No, DPT are not going to give them the chance. They're just going to go ahead and back out, take the Baron recall, reset, and maybe look for that soul.
I mean, at this point, it only makes sense for them to play it safe, having 4 of their members pretty chunked out. They can just go and look for soul, and then just turn directly around and just siege bot lane. They do have 2 inhibitors down. It's just the mathematically correct play, in my opinion. Just play for an objective if it's coming up soon, and then just play for the last inhibitor tower, crack that inhib, and then it should just be free game. Obviously, they do have a very solid wave clear champion on the side of Mystic Ninja Cyclones in the Ziggs, but I mean, with 2.5 items at this point in the game, I don't think it's really going to matter if they have all 3 inhibs down.
Yeah, no, I think 3 inhibs down is pretty unwinnable in comp. Venom finds the hook. Neutral Zerl, formerly glorious. You know, he still had 9 kills, had some nice plays on the dead, but Ranger will actually survive. Has to pop the Paranoia in defense, though. I think this is, the clock is ticking here. Actually losing it, finds his way onto Thim. The Ziggs will just die. Bercy whiffs the ultimate, but it's not going to matter as Tubby and Austin are forced to flee. The Wither comes down, but the Soraka is already out of the fight now. Ranger tries to come back. This is a full AD lethality option. I think they really were trying to just kill the Caitlyn, but the Caitlyn was not the issue. This 10, 2, and 12 Pantheon and the 10, 4, and 11 Lilia, absolutely they carried the game. Like, good performance from Goblin, but man, the mid jungle duo popped off.
Agreed, and honestly, you didn't really see them trying to like 4-man bot very much, right? You don't really see the Zed roaming down, the Nocturne ulting bot lane. Like, it looks like a comp of like kill the ADC for the side of Mystic Ninja Cyclones, but they also just weren't focusing the ADC in these fights.
Yeah, they really never got to that point. It really felt like DPT was always the ones initiating. They were always the ones finding their terms. Asuna not really able to make too much happen with his lead. I thought they contained the Nasus very, very well. And there was clearly a concerted effort to do so. DPT had the game plan and they executed. Well, with that, Somebody Sports fans, we will, of course, be back for game 2. We are going to hop into a quick break, I assume. And so we will see you in just a few minutes when the game 2 draft gets started off.
Welcome back to Game 2 Draft. MNC has chosen to take the blue side, utilizing the blue pick or the blue first pick, and the easier way of looking at the map. As a lot of people would
True.
say, I do prefer blue side whenever I'm playing champions like Thresh. That you have very important skill shots to land. I do think that it is a little bit easier for your brain to kind of process it, but already MNC taking off the Ashe again, and then they were banning the Lilia. They did think that that was a major issue last game, and again, they're just gonna toss another ban onto Goblin, taking away the Caitlyn.
Honestly, I like that. I like this XC losing it guy. He seems to have a pretty deep champ pool. Honestly, he plays a lot of unique stuff, like the Akshan, the Pantheon. I don't think he's really someone you can like neutralize and pick ban. But Goblin has really only been playing Ashe and Caitlyn and solo queue. Like, he's been climbing like crazy. He's like D150 LP now. But he's really only been playing these two champions, and so I think taking that away is pretty smart. This might be the Amumu flex pick if they go ahead and lock this one in. I think Ranger is better on tanks. This will probably go jungle. I think he would probably agree with me that he didn't look too great on the Lethality Nocturne, but like put him on engage, put him on something that can gank. He's a really really good jungler. So I
Yeah,
like the Amumu so far.
I do think that the Amumu will be going jungle. Um, and I would also love to see it paired with, something like a control mage mid, and then even something like Volibear top, something that has some magic damage that is going to be dealt. We know that Brucey does like playing the Rift Maker uh, Volibear, and for DBT, they already showed that they do like playing Thresh, and they're just going to pick it up immediately in the blind pick. The Silas. It'll be the Gwen. For assuming
Probably
who would
Asuna.
be
Could be jungle. I've never seen Ranger. This is a DPT Gwen.
yeah XD losing it? Question mark or no? Gargura
I
on
think it's
jungle?
jungle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gargura jungle, right? Because Gwen just got buffed for her jungle. I haven't seen it a
Yeah.
lot. Nobody in solo queue has really been playing it from what I have seen, so I'm not sure exactly where it actually stands. I have heard that it is definitely viable though.
Yeah, I feel like there's no way they put Brissy on this champion. Maybe. Honestly, that would be sick if they did.
I would
Um,
love to see that.
but I do think that this is going to be a jungle Gwen as Tubby's Seraphine is locked in. Honestly, I like this from Mystic Ninja Cyclones. I think like picking Samira on blue side too is probably bad draft strategy. But it's like good, like mental dominance.
The
Like the risk that
response
they
to
just
the
like,
Samira was
yeah, is
Lucian, by the way.
Lucian, which is pretty
And
interesting.
I would just like to say that at one point I heard Goblin say, "Once I stopped playing Lucian, we stopped losing." So take take that into consideration, folks. Not my words, it's his. As we are in ban phase 2, they're taking off the LeBlanc.
Yeah,
XD
trying to
losing it
pinch
probably.
neutral Earl's champ pool,
Oh, actually
and
losing it's on
then
DBT, huh?
yep,
From I mean, I haven't seen neutral Azural's OPGG. Probably is his. Um,
we did lose to his LeBlanc. I remember that because I was playing AD carry that game, and I saw that champion every single team fight. Um, so I mean, it's something he's proficient on. I think it actually might be his solo queue most played. They're gonna take away that Orin from Brissy, looking like maybe drawing a ban up there in the top lane. Nope, they are gonna try to pinch X's against Champool again. So it's gonna be two mid bans, two AD carry bans, and a jungle ban towards DPT. XD losing it. We'll see what he's able to pull out now. They actually might just blind top lane here. I feel like they're a little less scared of that. Yeah, they're just gonna blind pick the Poppy again. So Asuna is gonna have a chance to play into this. probably won't be able to opt into the Yone or anything like that. But maybe he is going to index into a little bit more of a carry. Maybe we'll get his patented Rumble. Hopefully not the Nasus again. Ooh.
It's gonna be the Nasus again. I'm calling it. I do think that the Nasus would probably be a little bit more viable this game against a Lucian. Um, we're talking about different ADCs kind of scale a little bit differently, and I do think that Lucian and Caitlyn are more of early game ADCs, and I think Lucian more so than the Caitlyn.
Yeah, I mean Nasus is actually definitely way better this game. Like Withering Lucian makes him not a champion because he's only 500 range. Um, and then Gwen also is on hit. Like this Gwen jungle is going to build Nashor's Tooth almost for sure. Um, so there will be more value.
Then there's just a blind pick Ari. I think that Ari is such a great champion, and honestly, I would pick Ari anytime I'm put mid in just about any elo. I'm not very good at the role. I think Ari is a somewhat easy to execute um, mid laner as long as you're not whiffing all of your skill shots. And maybe they do actually pick up the Silas here that they hovered earlier, and it will be DZ game 2 for the side of DPT this time. Now that's a little bit of an ego pick. I do really like it. I think that DPT is looking at a comp that kind of wants to accelerate the game a little bit more than they did last game. Obviously, once they had a lead, then they were doing a very good job of kind of taking their own fights, choosing what tempo plays they wanted to make, their own decisions were that DPT was in the driver's seat last game, and now it looks like they're going to have to take it with a little bit more force and a little bit sooner than last game.
Yeah, I think the Zed is, you know, I don't know if it's like an ego pick per se, but it is like kind of a flex. Like you played this last game, and now I'm gonna pick it and dumpster on you. Like we've seen this in our summit games. We've picked Ari into Zed with mixed results. I think obviously XC losing it took it on red 5, so he has some hope in the counter. I do think this DPT draft is not quite as solid as their draft last game, whereas I think the Mystic Ninja Cyclones draft is pretty good. They watched the Samir get locked in and then drafted one piece of hard CC. Like so they picked Thresh, red side 1, and Gwen, and then they watch Samira get locked in, and all they pick is Poppy as far as like anti Samira. So they didn't really draft a ton of answers to this champion, which is usually why Samira is not blinded early in the draft. But we'll see what they're able to do.
Yeah,
Brissy on the
I
Poppy may be able to stop the combos.
Yeah, I do think that DPT themselves has kind of drafted the kill the ADC comp. Obviously, the moment you draft an assassin, then your comp kind of um, takes a turn in that direction ever so slightly. But they do also have the Gwen with the backline access just from her ultimate, and obviously is able to zone off backliners with her immunity off of her abilities. And then obviously she does a bunch of damage, has a bunch of healing. I do think that um, paired with a Lucian being enabled by a Poppy and a Thresh, I don't think that the Samira should be too much of a problem if it's executed to kill the Samira and not to kill the Ari or to kill the Seraphine. I think that the moment that they're beginning a fight onto either of those two champions, I think is probably the moment that they lose the game.
Yeah, I think this is going to be kind of a Gwen game for DPT. I don't think Mystic Ninja Cyclones have a ton of great answers into the Gwen, especially if the Ari charm is immune. So we'll see. I just feel like I've played a ton of Gwen jungle, and like looking at like a Mumu Nasus, even Samir, I'm like, okay, these are champions that Gwen will just absolutely shred. So we're gonna have to see what happens with this one. The current score is DPT 1, Mystic Ninja Cyclones 0. The battle for the bottom is live right here, folks. We are gonna go into a quick spectator delay as we wait for the 3-minute delay to catch up. So we'll go ahead and see you guys on the Rift for game 2 in just a few minutes.
own favor.
I think MNC, you know, they're bouncing back here. They got Ranger on the Amumu. I think this is going to be a lot better than him on the Nocturne. So I'm excited for this. I do also want to see the Gwen jungle. I love the skin. It looks so good. And then Thim on the Samira. Super exciting. Goblin does have exhaust, as does them. I was kind of expecting the cleanse from the Lucian, but I guess it's kind of one of those angles where there's just like way too much to cleanse, so it doesn't even matter.
He just has to play perfectly because the moment he messes up, then it's just over regardless if he has cleanse or not. He's just gonna have to dodge absolutely every skill shot, every piece of CC from the side of MNC, space out the Amumu ultimate. Quite the challenge for Goblin, but if anybody could do it, I think it's him.
Yeah, I mean, like genuinely, this is such a hard game to play Lucian. Like, yeah, I'm really excited to watch the lane. These are like the two highest ranked AD carries in the league. Their supports not as much, but like, you know, regardless, I'm just really excited to see how they play. It looks like DPT is going to go for the level 1 cheese. Austin overs Brissy up here in the top lane. Austin was able to pull off a few solo kills last game. We'll see if Brissy is able to hold up a little better this time.
So I would like to point out when it comes to the bot 2v2 that Venom, he's feeling himself on the Thresh right now, right? As a Thresh player myself, I do know that, you know, it's kind of hit or miss if you're kind of on one about your hooks, about the play directions, you know, just like the order that you're clicking your buttons and everything like that. So I think that if Venom plays how he did last game, then it is looking very up for the side of DPT when it comes to the 2v2 in their bot lane. I think that if they're able to create a substantial lead, they will 100% be able to take over this game in the entirety.
Yeah. No, Venom on Thresh, man. Pretty formidable. It's definitely his best champion. But like you said, there, you know, I've played with Venom a few times. We played together in the League of Season 4. It is kind of hit or miss, you know, like whether you're feeling the hooks, whether you're playing the wrong way. But you know, so far he's feeling it. As Ranger making the gank towards the top side. Brissy gonna try to turn this one. Ranger is forced to flash away. He queues back in as Austin is walking away, and Brissy is just gonna be able to walk away. He doesn't have to flash. The puppy already putting up a much better performance than last game with a huge wave. Evades the gank and takes his summoner spell on his way out.
I mean, that's just the Brissy value right there. And it does look like we have a pause, probably a Tubbyton disconnection issue, and it was just very quickly resolved. Just a very small lapse in internet. It seems like just a very large wave stacked under Asana's turret in the top lane. Very solid trading from XD losing it on the Zed. Extremely impressive to see neutral Azrael already at sub 50% HP. And obviously we do have the stream freezes after the pause.
Yeah, the bonus pause.
I do really like to see that Brissy is, you know, like able to hold his own in this lane, but I would also like to see him manage the wave a little bit better. Gargura is bot side, but basically what I mean by like managing the wave better is that you don't really want to allow the Nasus to farm under tower. I do think that having such a big wave under his tower isn't the worst because it opens up like more room for error, less time for him to stack, especially early game. His Q is not on, you know, like a 2-second cooldown that he's able to just last hit everything with.
Yeah, I think the like in season 6, someone realized that if you actually losing it with a first blood, finds the solo kill onto neutral. Zero picks his Zed and plays it better. Electric from the DPT mid laner.
So that will be both summoners out of XD losing it, but it is an AD assassin. It is, you know, it's the entire stick of the champion that he wants to get the early lead. And I mean, he has it now. We'll see if he's able to really turn it into a bit of a snowball here in the next few minutes. And I mean, I want to see him roaming bot, right? That's what I want to see from the side of DPT. I want to see them playing to set them on the Samir behind to be bullying the Seraphine because Seraphine's laning phase is not necessarily the strongest. I think that in certain matchups she's able to be a very solid lane bully, but she does not really turn on until, one item, two items, level 11, um, whenever her ultimate cooldown is way shorter than whenever she's like level 6, and obviously it takes her until level 6 to get her ultimate. So if they're able to punish her before that, then I think that using that gold will be a huge factor in them being able to snowball this game is the like weak laning phase of Seraphine.
Yeah, and Goblin up 20 CS here. And competitive, when you pick Lucian, you want to come out at lane 20 to 30 CS and 2 plates. Obviously, in solo queue, you want to try to get more than that. You want to try to kill them. But so they're on pace for that right now, and they are going to be able to claim this first Drake as long as Ranger doesn't do anything too impressive here. A little bit of trading in the mid lane. XT losing it takes a tower shot, and the Amumu is going to walk up and immediately whip the bandage toss. XT losing it does have the death mark available, but Ranger is going to peel off as the Drake falls. They know that Gar's in the area, and XT losing it is able to walk away. No summoners, but lives all the same. Ooh, now Ranger under fire. XT losing it, puts the death mark on it, and claims the solo kill again before Gar can even get there. This is a 2-0-0 Zed.
XD losing it really took that gank personally. Like he just turned right around and was like, yeah, I'm gonna go and kill this guy on his raptors. Really good sidestep from XD losing it. Obviously, if he did not sidestep it and like kept going in the direction that he was, then he would have walked directly into the bandage toss. And with the Ari Charm follow-up, I do think that that would be a kill secured, especially that considering that he does not have flash that I highlighted earlier. So good on Ranger trying to capitalize on that, but very unfortunate that he already had a ward on his Raptors and he was able to find him on it.
No, definitely. I mean, that's one of those moments as a jungler where you're already under-leveled. You're a level 4 Amumu, and the level 6 Zed just kind of walks at you, and you're like, okay, well, not much to do there. A little unfortunate he did miss the bandage toss. I feel like that's honestly kind of one of those 50-50 moments where, like, you're both just kind of seeing who's going to move first, and you happen to move at the same time where XD losing it sidesteps, and then Ranger. Holy! Okay,
XD losing it.
Absolutely wicked on the Zed. Austin is now the target. Brissy goes for the flash insect or poppy sec. But this XD losing it, guy, man, like, get the. What the?
Yeah, that was disgusting. Like, Ari was there 1 second, the next she just wasn't. That was just incredible.
Just like diabolical damage off Dirk and Longsword. Like, that's just like so sickening to watch. But I mean, credit to XD losing it, knows the limits of the champion, just absolutely pops neutral Zero, lands every single shuriken there. Huge kill.
Oh yeah, he landed everything. I guess he deserves to do that much damage. I mean, I think he actually even got like W into auto there, which might have been like a contributing factor, but I'm not exactly sure. I mean, it happened so fast.
Yeah, genuinely with the electrocute proc, it was like
yeah.
I blinked and Ari was gone. Also, now moving into the river, they're going to try to fight for this control ward, but the Zed is here. Although Brissy is already taken very, very low by neutral as well. The Ranger finds 2 with the Curse of the Sad Mummy. Asuna looking to get involved in the fight as neutral as well picks up a kill, and now XC losing it onto Ranger is able to find the kill on the Amumu, but he's very, very low. The Zed has a 300 gold bounty. Neutral as well with the flash charm, they will be able to find the kill onto the Zed. It's a shutdown. That's 600 gold onto neutral as well. 900 in the fight as he's able to pick up 2 kills.
That does swing the lane a little bit back into the favor of neutral Azura. I do think that XD losing it is still a little bit ahead, having 4 kills and 1 plate. I guess the plate gold will be evened out. So just a slight lead for XD losing it at this point, if you're really looking at the math, I'm pretty sure. But that's a good sign for the side of MNC.
No, I literally, when the score was 3-0, I'm like, oh, this might just be over. But they bounce back. Austin makes the roam from the top lane. Ranger finds a nice flash ultimate. And then neutral Zero, credit to him. He's kind of been having it taken to him in the lane so far, but he's able to find a lot of damage in that fight, able to cycle the spells, and then landed the flash charm onto the Zed, which means now that he has Everfrost, he should hypothetically be able to stand in lane again. We'll see what XC losing is able to do. I'm not going to doubt this guy. Is Austin and Brissy a bit of trading? You see, ease the minion back up the wave and actually kind of comes out ahead there in the trade.
I mean, obviously, Brissy does have grasp, as we've seen him be able to proc it on the Nasus over and over with his shields. I do think that it's a really good interaction for the Poppy to have into melee matchups. We just see Goblin taking the Lantern to safety.
So now popping the ultimate, Brissy will respond in kind. Austin gonna make his way under the tower. He does have Ghost here. And he's not going to be able to complete the dive. Will survive though.
Corrupting Pop Burn just barely doesn't kill him.
Yeah, very close. Brissy forced to back off the tower. Austin going to be able to farm plates. Up 20 CS, 1-0-2. This Nasus is going to be a problem again. But into Gwen in particular, I feel like it's going to be a little harder for him to perform. Although Nasus into Lily is just as hard. The culling will be used to pick up the Drake. They need this to go down now. Goblin maybe left out to dry as Gargura takes the lantern. He finds the flash, but it's immediately into the Seraphine ultimate. Gar tries to walk back into save his Navy carry now, is able to dash over the wall and will find his way to safety. As it goes 1-for-0, Goblin 0-1-0, left out to dry, dies for the Drake.
Cleanse would have saved him there.
Unironically true. He still has exhaust up.
But yeah, he does still have the exhaust. Obviously, that is a kill going over to the Samira of all people, which is not what you want to see for the 2v2. They were able to secure the dragon. Next Drake will be
actually losing it. Tries to go for the finesse play. Flashes away. Not quite as clean as some of the earlier plays we've seen, but outplaying a 1v2 is something of a tall task. So he will blow his summoner. Nothing used on the side of Mystic Ninja Cyclones. Yeah, like you were saying, Sunny, that kill does go onto them. As Neutral Azuro maybe gets caught again, but the tower shot is going to equalize. And he heals off the Q, and Neutral Azuro will survive in the 1v1. The turn, man. Ooh, now Austin in a bit of trouble. Gargura is able to come up, pops the ultimate, and immediately pops the force stack off of Krugs. And this Nasus cut to pieces by the Gwen.
And I would just like to highlight XD losing it as a player. I love how aggressive he is. I love that he's going for these like flashy or outplays. I think that if he landed the shurikens in that 1v2, it would have been like a highlight reel moment. That was absolutely like, that was nearly the most absurd play I've seen all night.
Ooh, max range hook onto the Samira. Goblin not sure if he wants this fight yet. Tim's able to dash through Venom to safety. And with Tubby shielding, the trade goes vastly in favor of Mystic Ninja Cyclones as the Infernal Trigger is popped. The hook does not connect. More skirmishing in the mid lane, but now Goblin making his way forward, forces Tubby to heal. Actually losing it, taking very, very low off the poke here. Ooh, Neutral Azuro almost finds another kill in the 1v1, but actually losing it, just able to survive. No one falls despite quite a bit of brawling around the map.
Like after these last two games, I'm just like convinced that XD losing it is like an absolute demon. In the previous games that I saw him on the auction, you know, I wasn't entirely convinced. I figured it might have just been like a fantastic matchup, but you know, I keep talking about the guy, but I think he kind of deserves the attention. I think that like some of the plays that he's going for are just so I wouldn't say like ego caused, but I do think that him playing Zed is a little bit of his ego showing, and I do like to see it. And he's flash ulted here. Ranger ping it in kind, and I mean, pretty hard to outplay a flash ultimate from an Amumu. He did have previously ult the wave or W the wave, so didn't have his escape.
Yeah, no, the guy is fun to watch. He's like a bone collector. You know, he doesn't mount these like 30 CS leads. He's like the anti-setup. You know, like he doesn't like play for like the wave and to get like as much farm as possible and scale. Like he plays to get kills, which is just super fun to watch, and he plays really mechanical champions, and he does some really impressive things. This neutral Azurill under fire from the Gwen. If Gar is able to get to him, he will snip him, but with the Ahri ultimate, Gar may be in a bit of trouble as neutral Azurill with the moves finds the Q return onto the Gwen and gets another kill. 5-2-1. This already started out 0-2-0.
And I mean, that's just really good mental being shown from the Ahri here, right? From neutral Azurill, showing that even when they're behind, they still know how to play um, the game from behind. They're able to keep a level head, make good looks, and now that they're ahead, then they're able to, be the aggressor, kind of capitalize on the other team's mistakes a little bit more than they could before.
Yeah, I mean, both of these mid laners are honestly showing out. They have the most kills on their teams, which has just made this so exciting to watch, honestly. The bot lane has been really, really calm, but Goblin is, 9 CS a minute, 155 at 16 is absolutely incredible. As Brissy may be in a bit of trouble, Asuna from the bush looking to find a solo kill. Brissy with the knockup, Asuna kills a minion! Now he's under the tower, but Brissy doesn't have the mana to respond, but Gargura will be able to trade this kill. Unless Asuna, the direct KO, come on. Okay, it's the ultimate on the Fim as Goblin is able to dodge away from the Seraphine ult and take the Lantern to safety. Asuna is still shuffling around the enemy side of the map, puts down the Wither, but that will be his demise. As Gar is able to eventually trade the kill for his top laner. And now Mystic Ninja Cyclonez with a bit of bot priority and XD using it still in the mid lane are going to go ahead and start up this Earth Drake. This won't be their first of the game, so there's not too much of the Dragon Soul risk. Venom and Goblin are walking up here. Gar was on the top side of the map. He sprinted straight down, and now Brissy is here, but the steal will not come through. Ranger immediately starts to fight as Gargura goes in. This is the sad money, finds two. Brissy is alone on the backline, but now actually using it is there. And Fim is dead. The Zed has found the first kill of the fight, and now Mystic Ninja Cyclones are forced to flee. Ranger is gone. Neutral Zero left alone as Lord Tubbington joins his AD carry in the Death Chamber. Venom survives with a sliver of HP. The fight goes the way of VPT, but the Drake goes the way of Mystic Ninja Cyclones.
And obviously they did lose the fight 3-0 there, but I do think that picking up the Mountain Dragon is very important for them. And I think the Lucian actually picked up turret aggro at the beginning there. I'm not completely sure, but
Yeah, honestly,
regardless,
neither was I. I was
they
eating
do
an
deny
orange.
some XP from the Ahri, but I mean, neutral Azurill's already 2 items building components for what looks like a Zhonya's. There's not very many other options that they'd be building cloth armor on a mage for. But looking at the builds so far, you actually see Goblin built Static Shiv on Lucian, and I don't know if he knows something that I don't, but I don't think that's the build.
Yeah,
He
it's
might have
definitely
been
lower
talking
damage.
to he might have been talking to PPP before the game. He's like, dude, it's so much wave clear, just trust me. But
Yeah, I think it's fine. I don't really think Lucian is gonna do much anyways, other than like manage waves.
I
I
mean, we
don't
do
know.
see
I'll,
him
I'll ask
have
him
like,
about it.
yeah, we do see him like constantly having bot prio, like all of the laning phase, and they were able to secure the first 2 dragons off of it. So I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, especially if you're looking at kind of like the bigger picture of the of trying to stack dragons early.
Ooh, Goblin finds his way into the back of the pit and is immediately popped by the Curse of the Sad Mummy and the Seraphine ultimate. Venom with a nice lantern to take his jungler to safety. But neutral Azurill in hot pursuit. The charm will not connect and the Q will go right as well. So the Rift Herald picked up by Gargura, but Goblin will die for the sins of his team.
I mean, I think that going over the Baron Pit wall there was a little ambitious from the ADC of DBT. I don't think that's really somewhere that he wants to be. Like right now, looking at the game state, it's not even about the ADCs right now. It's literally all about the mid laners. It's all about the I would say the 2v2 now that the laning phase is kind of ended, but I'd say about the engage into the follow up of the damage from their mid laners.
Really. The mid jungle duos are still kind of running this one. Just because 6 kills and 7 kills, there are just so much gold in those lanes.
I mean, looking at CS differences, then I mean, mid lane was a little bit ahead for in the favor of XD losing it, but now it is kind of even out after the 3 deaths from XD losing it, and obviously the extra gold onto the Ahri allowing her to clear waves very well. She also stopped dying, so I think that that is probably a huge part of it as well. You're in lane more, you're able to click on minions more. Um, but still, there is a maintained CS lead despite Goblin having 2 more deaths than the Samira. Still maintaining a solid 30 CS difference for the ADCs. And then in the top lane, then there is a CS lead for Asuna, but I don't think it's nearly as big as it was last game. And I mean, the matchup isn't going as poorly for Brissy this time.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Brissy's playing it a lot better. I think he learned a lot from game 1. It is also worth pointing out in the jungle that Gwen is going to start vastly outpacing Amumu. I'm not sure if Amumu is even going to keep clearing camps or if they're all just going to go to Samira. But at this point, Gwen can just run around way faster and clear camps way faster. So I expect that CS lead to grow as the Gwen continues scaling. And it looks like we're going to go ahead and get another fight here. Venom almost found out by the charm, trying to set down some vision for his team, but is able to walk away. And the Drake is on the table. Goblin is here. Brissy is TPing. He's not on the flank, but actually losing it is. He's all the way in the bot lane, but he's currently marked by neutral Zerl. Austin and Ranger in the middle of the pit. Brissy finds his way into the start of the fight as the Ranger connects a huge Christmas have money onto Venom and Guard, but Goblin is untouched. He's pulling straight into the back of the mummy. Will find the first kill of the fight. X using it very low. Is able to find the Shuriken's back. Neutral Zerl taking very low, but resets his ultimate as Brissy is the next kill. Goblin is still alive. Able to find the reset. Venom will fall. Goblin in the 1v3 now as Gar is too low health to participate. Asuna goes big in the fight, full HP, neutral Zerl as well, and Tubby also able to survive, so it goes 3 for 2. No one is able to take the Drake. Gar is still hanging around though, but they saw him on a ward, they caught a vision on him, so he's greedy for the red buff, and this will cost him his life. The charm and the Q, the shutdown, and now Ranger is alive, but Gargura is on a 38-second timer. This could be Baron, and it'll almost certainly be Drake for the Cyclones.
At the beginning of that fight looked so good for DBT. Brissy with the Poppy ultimate knocked 2 people away, and it just took them so long to try to kill the remaining members of the side of MNC, and they ended up actually over chasing, in my opinion. I don't think that there's really any point in chasing after you get their jungler killed. I think that you're able to just kind of turn onto the dragon, you know, kind of just call that a one engagement. You have soul point now, you have a win con, I think is the most important idea behind it, is that, you know, Mountain Soul, very solid. Now the side of MNC has 2 Mountain Souls to the 2 mismatched dragons on the side of DBT. I don't think that's something that you want to see if you are DBT with their more early game centered composition.
Yeah, definitely. Like, Lucian staring at 2 Mountain Drakes is just terrible. And there's obviously a huge risk that Mystic Ninja Cyclones gets even more. Zed as well really does not want to see this armor. So it's things are looking pretty good, honestly, here for Mystic Ninja Cyclones. Definitely still a very even game, just a 2k gold lead for DPT. And this Gwen, man, is going to continue scaling into the Nasus and the Amumu. And actually losing it, never count this guy out. He's definitely dealing a lot of damage still, even though he has fallen off as far as collecting the kills.
I do think that with the future itemization of something like the Black Cleaver and then Shirelia's Grudge. Venom with the steel. Yes. That's the Thresh I want to see. That is exactly what I want to see from
Really
Thresh.
powering this guy #1. He steals blue buff, and his team is immediately able to do Baron because he steals blue buff. Ranger is so tilted that he has to go clear Gromp. Just kidding, he's going to check it out. Venom looking to zone. The charm will not connect. The hook onto the Ahri, but the Baron Asher has already been slain. The Curse of the Sad Mummy will only find one as the Death Mark avoids Ranger's ultimate. Venom not able to find the second hook. His stim goes absolutely nuclear. The back. He finds the resets, but he is taken down. But he will find 2 kills first. It's now up to Gargura, Brissy, and XT losing it. Brissy will be the next to fall, but Gar and XT losing it versus neutral Azrael. Asuna still pushing on the bot side. Gargura should be able to win this one with the Gwen is immune. Not able to find the snips just yet. The smite to slow the Ahri as the Q actually goes into the Zhonya's. Now if neutral Azrael finds the charm, he might be able to win this, but no. The shut down from the DPT captains. Asuna pops the ultimate, absolutely demolishing this tower. But Baron, it's on 2 here for the side of DPT, and they go 4 for 3 in the fight.
I think that Baron call was very ambitious. I don't think it should have worked as well as it did. Obviously, Ranger wasn't really expecting probably the idea of like, oh, they just stole my blue buff. Now they're just gonna do Baron, even though they know for a fact I'm on this side of the map, right?
He's like literally right there.
Yeah, right. Like it's not even like, oh, he's like all the way by their tier 2. He's literally at blue buff right now, and they just turn on to Baron. I do like to see, like the very creative and very, I wouldn't say risky, because it's almost like mentally calculated versus the enemy mental, or like the enemy ideas and what they're thinking, right? It's almost it's like a mind game of trying to sneak Baron. I do think that it shouldn't have worked, but it did, and I think that's fantastic for them. I do love to see those calls.
Yeah, I mean, the Gwen does shred these objectives. So it kind of makes sense. It's kind of like Diana or like Cassiopeia, these champions that you can really surprise the enemy team with your initial timings. And Gar now 3 levels ahead of Rangers and Mumu, which is, you know, to an extent to be expected. But Gwen is a champion that the Mystic Ninja Cyclones composition does not really have an answer for, compared to like the Lucian or even the Zed. So Gar, you know, I think this game is kind of on his shoulders. He's the only one with the bounty now. We're going to have to see what he can do in some of these later fights.
And I think that a lot of it will come down to neutral Azuro and what he's kind of paying attention to in these fights. I think that if he has threat onto him or on one of his teammates, like right here, he charms.
Ooh, the charm connects on the Venom. He's just dead at the start of the fight now. Gargura in the 1v4 puts out huge damage as he goes into the stasis, leaving Goblin to die. As Goblin is able to flash over the wall, now Gargura is in the 1v4. He's not able to heal off the ultimate just yet. He's able to trade 1 kill. XT losing it immediately over the wall onto him. The Death Mark will not find the semi-res. Lord Hubbakin keeps his 80 carry alive with a huge kill off the Empowered W. XT losing it, not done yet. Still looking on the flank. As Brissy and Goblin running away from Asuna. This Nasus is huge. 4-2-3, nearly 200 CS as he claims his 5th kill of the game. XT losing it, forced a recall. And Sunny, this is going to be another Mountain Drake for Mystic Ninja Cyclones.
And that is just detrimental for the side of DPT, right? They don't have the best options to kill, you know, multiple tanky frontliners without the Gwen. And I mean, in the last fight, you just saw the Amumu sticking to the Gwen, just you know, just doing his best to just CC her down. And what I was gonna say is that if Ahri really focuses on the Gwen in these fights, I think that it will be easier to deal with them. I think that, I mean, Rangers have showed that the Amumu can do it too, right? Just CCing them down until the rest of MNC is able to kind of clean up DPT, but obviously they did have numbers advantage at the beginning of that, and DPT is still slightly ahead. So that lead is probably in the jungle though, so we'll see if, you know, in a 5v5 situation, if the Amumu is able to actually lock down Gargura to where it will like mean more than what I think it will.
Right, you don't need gold to press ultimate as a Mumu. You do need gold to do damage as Gwen. So I think the fact that Ranger is so behind is honestly fine. And I also do want to highlight that the Lucian in the later stages of the game is the Curse of the Sad Mummy will be used, but there are no neutral objectives coming up, so there won't be any real cost to that. The Lucian is not going to be as useful as the Samira. Also, it's worth noting that Goblin has now picked up the Sorelda's Grudge. He is not investing in crit at this point in the game. He's opting into the slow. Maybe playing for the ultimate here, knows that he can't really step into range of many of these enemies. Perhaps some Twitch chatters will have some insights here on this build.
You know, I don't know if there's very many Lucian experts in Summit. I do know that there's a few people that do play the Lucian, but I mean, I've never seen this Lucian build, right? I've seen, like, there's this guy that I've duoed with a little bit who actually plays, like, Dark Harvest Lucian, and he'll, like, rush a serrated Dirk every game, but
yeah,
I'm
I mean,
slightly confused by...
I might have honestly played, like, the second most Lucian, and I haven't seen or heard of this. We'll see how much damage he's able to do as the fight is breaking out already. Brissy and Gar are just dead at the start of the fight. Thim is going to reset and immediately find the kill on the Goblin. The Samira is popping off. Now actually losing is trying to find a kill at the end of the fight, but Thim is able to heal up enough to survive the death mark. And this is at least Baron. They might actually just be able to end the game as Austin is pushing top, and Venom is the only one alive. They don't have the teleports. So it looks like they will just go ahead and claim Baron Nashor here.
I do think that the Samira being able to find these kills now be a huge asset in these team fights is exactly what they kind of needed from the ADC, especially after putting them on to Samira and pairing it with the Seraphine. I think that if the side of DPT kind of like smashed them a little bit harder, and rather than just be like, oh, I'm better at clicking minions than you are, and they played to prevent the Samira from clicking minions during a laning phase, I think that it would have been a lot more detrimental to the Samira. But I mean, Thim was still able to farm basically as much as he could, so I think that pairing the scaling of the Seraphine alongside of him with the added bonus of having like 2 insane teamfight ultimates later, I feel like now it's almost like they turned Samira into a scaling champion.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I stopped picking this guy Ziggs. I feel like they have latched onto this pick because they beat that one guy with Ziggs who had no idea how to play against it. Forgot who that was.
He must be really bad.
I think maybe he's just newer to AD carry and he's never played against a mage bot. You know, who knows? Could be any number of reasons. But either way, I think like Thim is your best player. I don't really think you want to put him on something that is like an autopilot in lane. You know, you want to put him on a champ that has a little bit more playmaking, especially in the later stages. Like, he just wasn't able to find the angles on the Ziggs. Like, sure, he's putting out the damage, throwing out the spells. But on Samira, we've seen him pop off here a couple of times in fights. And now he's the player to watch in these fights, as well as the solo laners for Mystic Ninja Cyclones. But, like, Asuna, they really just have no answer for the Nasus at this point. Like, Brissy in the top lane can't really clear the waves. This would be Soul. Brissy just TP'd down, but he's already lost half his health bar. Goblin throws out the culling on the flank, but his Ranger goes in with the Curse of the Sad Mummy. He finds 3. Austin's health bar is just far too big. This game is already over. Actually losing it on the flank. Neutral throw. May have made a mistake, though. No, he's able to... Austin TPs into the base for the end. Goblin is trying to go back to defend. But the fight will now be won by the side of DPT. Perhaps Ranger goes back in. Venom will be taken out, but Gargura alone in the fight. XP losing and is trying to recall, just trying to save the base. But Asuna now onto the Nexus Towers. Gargura is slain by Thim and Ranger, and now Goblin. You have Cyrilda's Grudge, man. He doesn't do any damage to this guy. XP losing and trying to cycle the spells on the Nasus. The exhaust. might just be enough as they find the shutdown. The game is not over yet, but Thim and Ranger are making their way to the Nexus. So Thim is going to go ahead and channel the recall. DPT holds on, but not for long.
Brissy actually died there without getting his ultimate off. I think that Brissy needs to be playing around Vision a lot more before they're looking at opening these fights. They need to try to ult, and it might sound kind of crazy here, but they just need to ult the Amumu away. Right? That should be the only target that they're looking at. The lockdown that he has on such a large scale with the ultimate is such a huge asset in team fights that I don't think TPT has any tools to work around. I think that, being like, oh, well, the Nasus is really, really strong. Yeah, it is, but Gwen ultimate does a lot of damage, and at this point in the game, the Nasus has no MR, right? The only MR that he has is coming from, I don't even remember, like an Aegis of Legion, is that what that item's called, right? It's such a minuscule amount, and the Gwen is, has components for the Void Staff for the last item, and I think that if they just ult the Amumu away, then that opens up a lot of options for the Zed, for the Gwen, and it even opens up options for the Lucian because they don't want a CC bot standing in front of them. There are 3 champions that are kind of countered by reliable hard CC, and I don't know what's more reliable than an Amumu ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, Goblin having a bit of a tough time on the Lucian. We talked about how in draft it seemed kind of unplayable. So much to the point that, ooh, may have found out Asuna the Venom gonna try to peel his AD carry as he'll be hooked back into the culling. XC losing this here with the Ghostblade, but they need to be really, really careful as they have an exposed Nexus. Asuna doesn't have TP though. This could actually be the angle that DPT are looking for if they're able to get back and defend the base 4v5, and I'm not sure. They don't know that Asuna is recalling. They think he might still be on the map, so they're not going to try to force a fight.
I think that the fact that Asuna just ate the full Lucian ultimate is all I need to know that that is what I do not want to see my ADC building in solo queue. I feel like, because XD losing it opted out for a higher AD build rather than like the full CDR build through the Hydra and the Black Cleaver. I feel like Goblin even could have built Black Cleaver, right?
Yeah.
Could have gotten like Bork Black Cleaver instead of the Static Shiv and Sorellia's Grudge. Granted, it is more of like, I want to say like a 2018 Korean Lucian top build, but I mean, if you're gonna cook up a build, I feel like that is what you'd want to cook up for this game.
Yeah, I think not having Black Cleaver definitely hurts. You could argue in favor of the Lord Dominic's. Like, the Giant Slayer passive is... We actually talked about this in the last series. It's not as good as people think it is. But when you're into 2 health stackers, Amumu and Nasus, it could definitely be really useful. And honestly, I'm just not sure how much value you get out of the Sorel this year, but I think Goblin knows that his champ is not really suited to this game just based off the draft. So we opt into the Soreldos. Yeah, not having Black Cleaver definitely hurts. Gar, this is going to have to be your hero moment. XT losing it is all the way bot. So they are playing for the steal at this point. The Zed is now making its way over. But with no vision, blue team is slain very natural. Ranger finds his fight now. Gar is trapped in the back of the pit. The culling will be immediately popped as, ooh, the Curse of the Sad Mummy only finds the DPT top laner, but he's taken down immediately now. Asuna going for the Zed as Gar taken very, very low. He's almost taken down. If he dies, the game will certainly be over. Venom is the next target. He will be taken down. And now Thim and Neutral Azrael moving up into the fight. Neutral Azrael looking for the Gwen. Is go ahead and pop his spaces, styling on him. Actually losing it out, dodges the charm with the deathmark, but he doesn't quite have the damage anymore at this point in the game. Take down the enemy mid laner. Ranger finally finds his bandage toss on the enemy mid laner with the flash. Goblin cutting the wave, but brother, you have no Nexus towers. The game will end here as Asuna and a Ranger find the kill onto Gar, forced for a retreat and back to his own Nexus. Goblin pumping up those CS numbers, and we're going to game 3, baby.
Oh. All things considered, pretty questionable or Lucian pick. Um, Also pretty questionable build on him, but we'll see if they choose to play the same thing. I mean, ban Nasus, please. I don't want to see another Nasus lane in this series. Get it out of my face, please, for the love of God. Like, oh, just I just want to see an actual top lane matchup. Um, I want to see Zed win a game. Um, because obviously XD losing it, fantastic showing on it at the beginning of the game, but he did show that, or Ranger did show that he is able to contain a lane if he has to, and he definitely uh, contained XD losing it on the Zed.
Yeah. No, honestly, really, really fun game to watch. Kind of a fiesta.
Just a wee bit.
Yeah, absolute fiesta. Exciting to watch it. I'm excited for this game three. So once the teams are ready, we will go ahead and hop into the draft. But first, we are going to take a quick break, and then we will be back with game three of Mystic Ninja Cyclones versus Don't Press Tab. Okay, welcome back. So the draft actually already concluded. It took us a while to get the spec link. So the teams are in the actual client draft now, and we're gonna have the spectator delay here. But we did want to talk about the draft a little bit. Some of the things I'm noticing immediately is actually the blue side five Shen into the red side four set. So that's pretty exciting. And then also Goblin on Twitch, man, and actually losing it gets his auction. So this is going to be quite an interesting draft.
So the Shen ultimate, I love to see Shen paired with invisibility champions. Um, you're able to basically just like if Twitch is on a solid flank, you're able to basically just deliver a Shen into the backline of the enemy team. And obviously, I do think that it will probably be used to save people more often than it is for beginning fights, unless it is on the Diana. I think that they are looking for a bit more of like a single direction whenever the fight starts for the side of DPT. I don't think that they have the greatest flank angles. I don't think that they have a fantastic front line that's like already going to be there without the Shen. So we'll have to see how they do execute it. But a huge highlight as well is the Akshan, right? Like you already said, XD losing it looks extremely good on the champion, especially in the laning phase.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. The guy, like we were talking about, he's on demon time all the time. Like he plays for kills, he makes the flashy plays. He's really confident in his mechanics, which is super fun to watch. And then the Diana jungle is going to be their sole AP, but I think that's fine. There's not really any champions. I guess the Maokai is going to put on a bit of armor this game, but the Diana will still be hitting him with her ultimate at least. So I think the draft is good. I like that they got the Seraphine again for Lord Tubbyton for Mystic Ninja Cyclones. And then the Ari, I thought performed very, very well after the slow start. I think the champion is really strong, like you mentioned, Sunny. Like you'd pick it every game if you could. And then I'm excited to see Asuna on the set. Really excited, honestly. Get him off the cane, man. No one wants to see that champ anymore. So put him on something that's a little more proactive.
Absolutely, I totally agree. And one thing that is potentially concerning is if Brissy does itemize into Heartsteel and starts stacking up the Heartsteel a lot in the 1v1, then that's just giving Set a better target to ult in like, because Set's not gonna really be looking to start the fights. It's mostly going to be the Maokai, the Ari, the Seraphine, or at least like what I'm thinking about how they should like perfectly execute. Set should be waiting for the Shen to um, ult down on one of the targets, and then he should just ult the Shen into the backline of DPT, right? They want to take him, who's probably going to have the most HP on the side of DPT, and just slam him down as hard as possible. So we will see how Brissy chooses to itemize. I think that Jackshaw is probably the best option for him here, or even Radiant Virtue. But
Yeah, yeah. If DV was here, I would ask him. I think Radiant Virtue could potentially be very good, but we'll see if Percy's able to hold up in lane this time. I thought he played really, really well during the laning phase in game two. I think his team fight execution, he was stopped from having an impact in some of those fights, but he survived lane a lot better compared to game one. So we'll see what he's able to do on the Shen. And man, Goblin's Twitch. This is a pick that every single La Liga player I used to be just like downright terrified of. Like the cheese, the macro threat. It's his bread and butter champion. It's what he's known for, and I'm really excited to see it back on the Rift here.
I completely agree. I do love to see um, players that are of like higher caliber in Summit getting their signature champions. I do love to see um, champions that you're able to be a little creative with, comps that you're able to be a little creative with, and obviously Twitch, he's able to just like one shot three of the members on the side of MNC. Um, I do think that the Seraphine shields, the Seraphine wind wall. I don't know the name of the ability. Her We all know what I'm talking about, but I do think that might be able to save their lives a little bit, but I think that if Ari has already used her full combo and Twitch is able to come out on the side of the fight that Set and Maokai just are not there, they're on the other side of the fight, then I think that the Twitch pick will be like completely like influential and like game winning for the side of DPT.
Yeah, I'm super excited, and I think we can go ahead and actually hop almost straight into this one. We might just have a few seconds of delay, but I think that the teams are both loading in as we speak. So we will either see you on the Rift after I finish saying this, or we will go to a very, very brief pause. And we are on the Rift. Okay. Welcome to Game 3 of Don't Press Tab versus Mystic Ninja Cyclones. Here in the 70 Sports Super Duper Epic Premier League, we have another Game 3 here on this wonderful Sunday night. Sunny, we are both East Coasters, unfortunately, so this one's going a
Welcome to
little late.
Summoner's
But,
Rift.
for the fans back home, back on the West Coast, this is a Sunday night treat before getting back to work tomorrow, hopefully. I got to say, who do you
30
think is taking
seconds
this
until
one?
minions spawn.
Oh man, I want to say DPT. I think that um their damage profile overall looks a lot better, a lot more consistent. Obviously, they do have two marksmen. Marksmen are kind of, I've talked about it before in this series, known for having the best gold value in their items, but they also do have a Diana, a champion that's able to power farm really hard, but also wants
Minions
to
have
get
spawned.
those items and wants to also scrap once she is level 6. Um, I think that, again, this is a play bot lane kind of game, but knowing how these games have been playing out, I think that a lot of the action is just going to be around mid. I think that we're even going to see Goblin on the Twitch roaming up there now. I think that um, there is going to be minimal fighting bot lane, which isn't exactly what you want to see as a Samira, but obviously you did pair it with Seraphine, so it's just kind of what you're looking at. Um, And I mean, XD losing it just knowing the champion. He's going for like a level 1 potential all in onto Ari. And I mean, he wins the trade pretty hard, probably like 150, 200 HP in the favor of the Akshan.
Yeah, these guys are just not stopping. It's like they have like a personal vendetta and they're going to sort it out today one way or another. But XT losing, and I think Akshan is probably his signature champion, I would say, from the Summit face-off. He picked it a few times. Actually, he ropes into a tower shot there, which kind of puts neutral Azurill in a much better spot in this lane. Yeah, these guys have been an absolute treat to watch. Super, super mechanical gameplay, very, very aggressive, and plenty of jungle involvement on both sides as Brissy goes in for a trade onto Asuna. Asuna finds the Haymaker, evening out the trade. But it's good that Brissy is able to stand even in these early trades, as he has struggled a little bit so far this Summit season and not dying in lane. As now Ranger is going to go for the flash root, and Neutral Zero follows it up with a flash charm, but the charm actually misses. Ooh, but XT losing it, not quite able to trade the kill.
And that's so detrimental, especially if they get this wave crashed relatively quickly, right? The Akshan only has 3 CS from the first 3 waves that he was in front of. He's prioritizing fighting the Ari a lot in this lane. Probably a little bit too much because he needs to be at least farming while he's fighting. And you do see him lose XP. Obviously, he died giving over first blood to the Ari, which is just not what you want to see if you are Akshan. Um, Ari is kind of like the assassin classification, and I guess you could argue Akshan's a bit of an assassin himself, but being a marksman, it does make him rather vulnerable to champions like Ari.
Yeah, dying with just 3 CS is a bit tough, but honestly, that's kind of why I like XT losing it. His playstyle is so like I farm champions, you kind of just have to respect it. Like literally not hitting minions on purpose, trying to win out the trades early. I think that is just like such a respectable way to play the game, even if it is not optimal. I did like it's so great to watch as a spectator, you know. It's like, yeah, like I would let this guy play every single game if I could, you know. Who cares if he has 3 CS when he dies level 3? Ooh, Asuna is going to be tanking up the wave a bit here. The Haymaker comes down, and Ranger is here as well, so the Directed Cam sends us on a trip bot. Goblin is going to get chunked out by Tubby and Thin as Venom is not able to find the hook. And Gar makes his presence known here as well as they push the wave in. Brissy going for the 1v2. Finds the taunt onto Asuna, but is the Haymaker backup? Ranger now CCing the DPT top laner as Asuna finds the big blast into Brissy and finds yet another kill in this top lane matchup.
Hey, respect though. Respect for Brissy, all right. I do like to see him going for the aggressive plays. Obviously, he was in a tough spot. The set lane isn't really a win for the Shen. I think it's definitely playable. You do see him making some of these trades very well, and you see XE losing it.
Oh. Yeah, actually losing it now, roaming up towards Asuna. I'm not going to find the boomerang, because Asuna will just walk away, maybe looking to turn it, but no, XE losing it is able to back away to safety out of the E range, and Asuna will take the recall.
And I mean, XD losing it, not getting the kill there is just so unfortunate, especially because he just lost so much mid. Ari did claim, or she did not quite claim, a turret plate whenever he was up there, but she does get it on the back end, and that's just another whole wave that he's just not going to get, you know, all the XP of a cannon wave and gold, potential gold, just not even.
Ooh, Goblin tries to do a bit of trolling, but he might be caught out in the river here. His Venom is going to go ahead and throw him the lantern. He is still ghosted, so he's going to be able to kite back, but Neutral Azurill is coming over the Dragon Wall. Brissy pops the ultimate onto his support, but this might be a fight he does not want. Goblin is still ghosted, trying to run away, but he's only level 4. He just doesn't have the damage. Gar is here, but it's far gone, and Neutral Azurill finds the double kill. Goblin trading with them going to be taken pretty low. Things are already looking quite bad for the side of Don't Press Stab.
Yeah,
ooh, already using it. Going for the solo kill, finds the rope with the damage. It's huge. He's going to try to pop the ultimate, but Lord Tubbyton able to block, and Neutral Azurill will live to see another Drake.
Yeah, already like a 2.5k gold lead in the side of MNC, and granted, I think that DPT have a significantly better scaling comp. I think that, honestly, like the best champion that MNC has when it comes to scaling is the Seraphine, which is in the support rule. So I think that if DPT are able to kind of slow this game down, hit the brakes a little bit, because it does seem like they're part of the problem. It's not even that MNC is necessarily making all of the proactive plays. It's kind of been like half and half of them just capitalizing on the fact that their champions do more damage. They're stronger in the early game, so that it almost feels like DPT's taken some fights that are just kind of like losing at this point in the game.
Yeah, a bit unlucky there. Roblin looking to find the gank on mid, but Ranger just kind of sniffs it out. And then with the state of this lane matchup, the Mystic Ninja Cyclonez bot lane is going to be able to take those fights. But yeah, not looking too great here for the side of DPT. 0-5 is never a score you want to see. But I mean, I've definitely played a few solo queue games where I came back from worse. And you know, I didn't even have Brissy on my team. If I did have Brissy on my team, there's no way I'm hitting that FF. So I think DPT is still in this. We'll have to see XC losing it. Not sitting too hot so far in this one, but hey man, if I've learned one thing, it's to not count this guy out. Neutral Azurill getting the better end of it this game though. 4-0-0. That is a scary Foxwoman.
I mean, yeah, I think that, again, like, for the first time this entire series, it looks like we see the mid laner of MNC playing to roam down mid, and I think a lot of it's due to the substantial early lead, right? It's 8 minutes into the game and already sitting on Everfrost. I think that it gives a lot of wave clear at this point in the game. I'm not looking at, you know, how many abilities they're or Neutral Azurill's casting on the wave, but I'm pretty sure just like a Q Everfrost at this point would one-shot the casters. Yeah. looks like if neutral Azuro really had to get proud, they'd be able to just Everfrost wave and I mean practically one shot the whole thing.
Yeah, the Ari very, very strong. And now a huge wave on bottom. Goblin is going to miss the enemy and actually losing it. Still trying to take the fight. Is hit by the charm though, and will collect all 3 of the orbs from neutral Azuro. Yet still kind of comes out on top. So the Akshan is still able to fight in lane, which is a good sign. It matches Xy's playstyle. Bercy and Asuna duking it out as per usual. Bercy going to take the haymaker to the back. Asuna again getting the better side of this matchup, up 28 CS here. Ooh, a possible cheese here by Thim and Tubby. They went ahead and faked the recall. Goblin is channeling a recall. Actually losing it with a flash in, drops the ignite. This kill could be huge if Neutral Azuro does burn down, but he survives with just a sliver of HP. Actually losing it, goes for the play, but does not quite get the reward.
And that's just, I mean, it's kind of like one of those moments where you kind of need it to work for the resources that you're expending. And I mean, now it's a flashless and an igniteless Akshan in the mid lane, and he was at the time, or else he might have been able to look for an ult. But I'm pretty sure the wave was coming, so it probably wouldn't matter. And obviously, the turret's able to block the Akshan ult as well. But right now, it does seem like the Diana is, you know, kind of just like on track to just keep on scaling. Does have Nashor's Tooth completed, which is a huge buy for Diana. I'm not sure if the Diana will be, or if Gargura on the Diana will be opting out for a more AP heavy build, you know, something like the Proto Belt or the Night Harvester, probably Proto Belt in this game, or if they'll be going into tanks such as like Sunfire and Jackshow.
Yeah, and I mean, I've played both. Diana is like my second most played jungler. I think at least, yeah, we'll see. I was kind of reading chat there. I'm not really sure what we were talking about, but we're back. You know, some more trading in the top lane. The hook actually lands onto Thim, and Gargura is here as well. The ultimate immediately. Thim stacking up the part though. He's going to be able to get the Infernal Trigger. He is, but Goblin pops him with the E, and Ranger is here, but it is far too late. Oh, Venom with the flash hook. Ranger flashes away. That's what you like to see from the DPT support.
And I think that Gargura waiting in the bush for so long there, by the way, waited for a very long time to see if the bot lane of MNC does overextend there, and they were not able to successfully sniff out the potential gank from lane. I know that it is a pretty hard. Oh, actually losing it with the
losing it. This guy is like Faker versus Ryu in the mid lane, bro. This is so exciting to watch. He claims 700 gold, survives with a sliver of HP. These two mid laners, man, just absolutely going at it. That is huge for the side of DPT, though. The Akshan is going to be way, way, way stronger after that gold injection.
Oh yeah, I mean, he's already sitting on components for his entire first item, and I think that's going to be like item and boots, right? I think that is such a huge, not quite boots, it is it's like boots of speed and no magic. He is going to be opting out for the Merc Treads this game, which I don't think is a bad idea at all. It will free up himself from the 2 charms, the root, and then the stun from Set a lot sooner. The slows obviously off of the Maokai and the Seraphine. So he's able to use the summoners, so he's able to use his mobility to try to get out of the way. And the Diana actually does have completed slightly magical boots now, going for the harder scaling, I guess. I mean, a lot of junglers have like the most optimal build, and Gargura just with the gank off of aggression here. It's pretty free. Both flashes popped from the top laners, but obviously the Set does still die. Just the Diana just helping out, shoving the wave. I don't think it's a bad decision at all. Kind of curious to know how much gold the Diana is sitting on right now, but
Oh, actually
yeah,
losing it. Takes the chunk, but thinks he's going to go in anyways. The boomerang doesn't connect, or else that might have been another solo kill. But yeah, Gargura finds his way to the top lane for the first time in the series, and they do take down Asuna. His aggression is finally punished.
and I mean, as an Ari, right? You use your full combo, and then what do you have after that, right? I think that even though XD losing it got chunked there, as long as he's not like, you know, like 100 HP, I think that it's 100% the play for him to look for like an all-in angle there. He has better mobility in my opinion, unless the Ari has ultimate up, and I'm pretty sure she actually ulted away there. Ultimate looks like it's on cooldown, but has a ridiculously low cooldown. Like that's what is it? That's like a really low cooldown. I'm like visibly watching it like come back up right now. Like it's like 40 seconds or something like that. That's absurd.
Yeah, I mean,
But
level 11 is only going to make that quicker too. I think. Yeah, he's cooking. Going for the Zanya's second, though, which is a pretty high value buy. It's very, very good into Diana. And then, of course, the rest of the team is all AD. Actually losing it. Swings onto Thim and forces the Mystic Ninja Cyclone's AD carry flash.
and that's a huge cooldown, especially with any like upcoming objective timers. Obviously, the Diana is bot side, while Ranger is claiming the Herald for MNC. And Asuna just trying his best to, you know, try to kill Brissy in the top side. I think that Brissy just trying, like, just not even hitting him at all is really smart there. It's pretty apparent now in the matchup with the Bork completion on the side of the set that he's just going to win the 1v1. So don't even look to potentially trade damage.
Oh, Brissy lands the taunt under the tower, but the haymaker to the spine will be enough as Asuna looking to pop off here in the 1v2. The Akshan forced to flash away as Mystic Ninja Cyclones now will spawn their Riptail in the mid lane. XD losing it is able to survive, does lose his flash in the gank process, although this play might not be over. Asuna can't quite find the collect. Now XD losing it, going to go ahead and channel the ultimate, but the minions will tank up most of that as he eases back in. Asuna very low, XD losing it. It's 400 gold because he gets the extra 100 for a revive. This guy is not afraid of anything.
Man, I would have loved to see like Brissy get revived and then like a fight is breaking out bot lane and then Brissy just gets revived just to Shen ult. Like that's an interaction I want to be able to see. Is like Brissy dying at the beginning of a fight or something like that, right? Like he's like grouped with his team initially, he dies, gets revived just to Shen ult back into the fight. I would love to see that.
Yeah, no, I mean the Akshan revive is honestly like probably the wackiest mechanic in the game.
It's
As
so
far as like
broken.
philosophically, like why does it exist?
I hate
Like
it.
how does it tie into the champion's lore? He's like this random like vigilante who rope swings places, but he can also revive people. I feel like they just really wanted to add a revive into the game, and they're like, we're about to release this guy named Akshit. You know, we can give him a revive. Oh, actually losing it, caught by the charm and the Everfrost. Will lose his health bar as punishment, but it's gonna go ahead and swing in anyways. Connects the boomerang this time, and the Kraken Slayer off the 3-hit proc finds the kill onto neutral and Zero.
And I mean, that's just Merktread's value, right? The full combo from the Ari just did like 40% of his health bar. And at that point, all of the Ari cooldowns are used up. So, I mean, XD losing
Lunatic,
it.
bro. I like that. We should call it
XD Lunatic.
Ooh, Venom caught by the charm. He's going to be taken down immediately as Stim is able to get 4 style charges off that. Now moving forward, looking for the Infernal Trigger. Leading the charge with Tubby behind. Goblin in a bit of trouble. He does have his flash, so he's going to be able to get over the wall. Did already use the Ghost, and XD losing it now. Pumping the damage into Asuna. Brissy pushing the top lane, holding the ultimate. Gar on the flank. Forced to flash down with Ranger follows up the wall, and Asuna does as well, but Brissy immediately goes in. Oh, Gar goes back into the fight, but it's Brissy and Gargura on the backline as Ranger trying to deal with XD losing it. It's going to be taken very, very low by the Auction and the Twitch, but now Neutral Zero is back in the fight. He resets the ultimate. He has one more charge. XD losing it, trying to cut away from Austin, but the punch is there. Goblin is there no more as Ranger and Neutral Zero clean up the fight, and they are going to claim, crucially, their sole point Drake, their third Drake of the game.
That was probably one of the wildest team fights I've ever watched. Like, it's literally happening over an entire wall, right? Granted, it's like one of the thinner walls in the game, but like the entire fight is fought like over this wall, with these like multiple ultimates that are able to go over, with these multiple abilities that are able to, you know, jump walls, able to dash over. I mean, that was just like such an entertaining interaction of abilities.
Yeah, no, I thought like the way that Ranger followed the flash over the wall with the twisted advance or whatever the Malachi W is called was pretty comical. And then it's like everyone is standing next to each other, but there is just like this little sliver of the wall between them, which does make it pretty funny. I feel like if we could have these two teams play every single week, like Summit would have more viewers than the LCS. Like this is just Fiesta Maximo, and it's very entertaining. As now a little bit of pressure onto Austin at Brisky connects the taunt. The Haymaker is going to have to be huge, but he's pulled out of it by the Diana ultimate, and the shutdown will come onto Gargura. Quietly making his way to 3-1 and 2 here is the Don't Press Tab captain.
And I mean, out of all the champions on the side of DPT to get a huge shutdown, that's not who you want to see if you're MNC.
XC losing it, making his obligatory death. I feel like he's like the type of player that kills a bunch of people and dies just as many times. And he's got like some secret sauce for the 1v1s, and so if he doesn't die randomly on the side lane, he would be like too OP. So they will trade kills cross map on both side lanes. Austin and XC losing it, both taken down.
I do like to see that even when it is 2v1, XD losing it does have like kill threat onto the squishy champions on MNC. Like you see like Nutra Azuro like using Zonias, and it might be him like calculating it and being like style points, but it also might be like, I'm not trying to have 500 damage like dumped on my head by like Kraken passive proc.
Yeah, Akshan passive, Kraken passive. Like Kraken Slayer, it just feels really, really strong to me. I think it's very, very good. The damage is just insane, especially when you have a champion like Akshan, which has a double tap built into his kit. It seems really, really strong. And I see losing it's been making decent work of it so far. Remember, he started the game 0-2-0, so the 3-4-1 may not look great, but it is a lot better than it could be given the start of this match. And the gold lead for Mystic Ninja Cyclones is still very much intact. 4K, 3.7K is pretty substantial at 22 minutes, but not unwinnable, not even in a single fight. I think that TPT are still very much in this one. And hopefully we're going to see some pop off around this Baron, but I think Mystic Ninja Cyclones really just want to wait for this Soul Drake.
One thing to note is that the CS lead that Goblin has had in both games is not really there. This game is only about half as much as what it has been in previous games, sitting roughly at 15. It's a little closer to 20 right now, but with the meeting of waves right now in the mid lane, I think that's going to be evened up, as it looks like they're gonna try to overload top side here.
Yeah, maybe looking to play for the Baron. A bit risky. They could try to burn this one. Diana is another one of those champions that I mentioned earlier that can take the Baron extremely fast. The Jack Show build is a little less proficient at the Baron burn, but with Brissy bot, Neutral Azul does not have teleport. Now Asuna is in the top lane, so this could turn into a 4v5 as the Baron is going down. Ranger is able to find the vision. Lord Tubbington walks up past the ultimate and connects it onto 2. The fight is going to break out. Gargura finishes the Baron, and now Thim onto the backline, trying to stack up the style points. Venom with the stopwatch will prevent this. The Infernal trigger for now was the Oxnard ultimate combined with the Diana ultimate finds the kill. But Asuna collects one on the backside of the fight, and Neutral Azuro finds the solo bolo onto Brissy in the bot lane. Is now actually losing it in Gar. In the 2v3, they haven't given up yet as they're moving forward again. A bit of damage towards Ranger, but I'm not sure if they can win this. XC losing it, swinging in for a bit more chunk, but the Ari alone in the bot lane, I think DPT is just going to have to take the Baron buff, take their kill, and be happy.
I
Oh, maybe
mean,
not.
MNC is like terrified of these two. um, I'd say like probably like the crucial factor that made that go so poorly for DPT, despite getting Baron, I think that is that Shen was unable to ult to the fight. Neutral Azuro doing a very good job of pressuring him, all-inning him whenever he realized that his team was fighting top side, just doing his absolute best to prevent.
Ooh, actually losing it. The Shen ult was still available though, so he will be fine. Yeah, I agree, Sunny. I think actually like kind of a catastrophic misplay from Brissy. You know, something that he can bounce back from, but not just walking back in the lane and getting in position to ult. May have cost them the game, as now the Soul Drake is on the table. Brissy is charmed and he will be chunked. So this is going to have to be a hero play from Gargura, as they do not have any standing to get into this pit. He could try to dash for the Maokai. It's going to be just out of range of the Lantern provision, and he steals the soul. Gargura goes in and finds a 4-man ultimate, but is there enough damage? Goblin now free hitting from the backside, but then pops the Infernal Trigger, and immediately Asuna flashes onto the Twitch. Goblin very low. Neutral Azure will collect the kill. XT losing it, and Venom forced to flee as it goes 3 for 0. 3 members of DPT down, but the hero play from Gargura keeps them in the game as the smite comes through.
And that was really, like, obviously the steal was fantastic, and my only like problem with the look that Goblin made was that he was totally alone on that side, right? I think that that flank was fantastic, but the 2 members that went in just evaporated so fast that once they were dead, that then there were resources that MNC still had that they were able to just immediately turn onto him. Obviously, the set expended flash and ultimate to do it, and obviously the Ari is gonna have ult in every fight at this point, unless you watch her use it, 10 seconds before the fight breaks out. But I think that if Venom positions, a bit closer to Goblin and is able to kind of like lantern him away whenever Goblin's like, okay, I don't want to be here anymore, then I think that that would be like such a great angle from Goblin, like more than it already looked. Just like constructive, like theory crafting on how that fight could have gone a little bit better for DPT.
No, definitely. It looked really close. Like, we saw the Twitch open up on the bot side of the map. He did have the Hurricane, but still building towards that Mythic. Going for Ginsu's.
Yeah. I mean,
Not
it's just
really
like he autoed twice, and then his front line was dead, and he realized like, oh, I don't want to be on their screen anymore. So that's really like the biggest problem with Venom on the Thresh being positioned so far away from him, is that he wasn't able to actually unleash with his ultimate. If he's able to just auto over and over because his teammates are in front of him.
Oh, Goblin, you are so dead. Asuna with a cheeky bush play, going to find the solo kill. Twitch only worth 270 gold. No neutral objectives, but that's going to be another 40 seconds. The Goblin is not farming towards his 3rd item.
I mean, that is just actually like, that's like a tilting moment for Goblin. You see him just like completely give up. Obviously, I'm sure as an ADC player, that's probably the exact same thing that you would have done, just kind of stand there and take it. But
yeah, actually using it, caught by the charm and the Everfrost. The electrocute will proc, but he goes in again. We've seen this one before, but he's not able to connect. Neutral Zero pops the ultimate. The ultimate 1v1 is actually losing it. Auto attacks the minions. The ultimate might do enough damage here. He's able to clear the wave. This should be a kill here on the Neutral Azure. Neutral Azure fully charges it, but the Ari, has the stopwatch available. Fully built Zonias, actually. And now Thim on the flank, looking for XD losing it, but he's able to go into the Invis. That's another thing that Akshan can do. He can turn invisible and revive people. This champion
indefinitely,
is laughably built. Yeah.
Indefinitely. I've talked about it before, but I think that Riot has genuinely made two mistakes, like complete mistakes, whenever creating champions. And I think one of them is Akshan for sure. I don't think the champion should have ever been made. Um,
What's the other?
Obviously, it's Lilia, but that's kind of biased. I know that some people
Nah,
really
Lily
like
is
Lilia.
balanced, man.
I
Lily is good
hate that
design.
champion. It's just like, let's make a tank killer that moves infinitely faster than tanks and can also one-shot your carries and is also able to build tank and still one-shot your carries. Like,
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think Lily's alright. I'm cool with
the
her. Actually losing it. Round 2, baby. I hear no bell. He immediately ropes in, but Neutral Zero pops the ultimate. Now looking to move on the offensive. So they will actually get the Ari ultimate out. Like you've mentioned, Sunny, it's a pretty short cooldown. But still, nonetheless, if they do want to make a play here before this Drake, they have a very slight window. Baron available now. Goblin still not on a third item. Very, very painful when he does not yet have a mythic. And Asuna is going to do it again. Goblin is running. Oh, Brissy pops the Shadow Ultimate. If Goblin's able to survive here, this could be huge. The taunt actually is able to connect. Well played by Brissy. And now Asuna is the target, but the Twitch Ultimate, the Rat-a-tat-tat, is going to run out. And Asuna is able to flee. And man, the Soul Drake is already under fire. Gargura does have Flash again, but that was his only ward. XT losing it, trying to walk around in stealth to get vision, but the enemy team is able to see him. Gar, are you a hero? Yes,
he is him!
he steals it for the second time in a row. The fight is lost for sure, but it does not matter because the soul will not go down. Neutral Azurill is unstoppable. This will be the Baron for Mystic Ninja Cyclones, but DPT, I think preventing the soul is the play.
I mean, even if DPT loses, Gargura's a winner in my heart.
Put this guy in the Summit Hall of Fame, bro. Golden Smite key.
Oh my goodness. I mean, the second steal for Gargura, and I mean, looking at his items so far, then he does have the Zonias, which I think is pretty, I think it's logical and like educated on why he would build it, and then he is building into the Sunfire. I'd say like a really important thing is that nobody's really itemized any MR on the side of DPT. It's such a good flash from
caught out and shut down.
Goblin. Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
I mean,
that's
he
big.
uses greeting. Like his entire team recalled.
Yeah, that is honestly a bit troll, but you know, they do still have Baron, so that just kind of delays their Baron timer. That's 40 seconds where they don't have a side lane pressure. And Goblin is now 3 items. He completed the Rage Blade. Thim is as well, but Goblin up 70 CS is quite a bit stronger if untouched. However, Thim has a lot more playmaking on the Samira. He does have the pop-off potential like we saw last game. So now, I think, Sunny, we're kind of at the point where it's no longer about the mid laners and it's starting to become about the AD carries.
Agreed. And obviously, the Lucian last game was rather useless, I dare say. But it did hit a point where the Samira was kind of like the center of attention when it came to the team fights. And I think that with the Twitch picked up by DBT, I think that it will become a lot more like a game of ADCs and which ADC is able to output more damage the fastest.
Yeah. Both AD carries are pretty underleveled, honestly, especially compared to their mid laners. They're both 3 levels behind the mid laners. Asuna is 2 levels ahead of Brissy. Brissy really honestly needs to get this level 16 for the level 3 ultimate, but he is opting to sit mid. They're going to find the taunt here onto Ranger, and he's going to end up tanking the towers. Brissy is able to shoot a lot of damage, and Tubby pops the Seraphine ultimate. Brissy uses the Shen ultimate in response on XC losing it, so a couple misplays there, but it's traded, so it won't really affect either team.
Quite, I'm gonna call them questionable ultimates from both sides. Obviously, those are cooldowns that you see and they're like, okay, yeah, I won't be up for the fight that's about to break out.
Yeah, Ranger taunted under the tower. Thim out of the back line. He's dead. immediately, and Goblin is free hitting. The Twitch is online on his signature champion, Goblin. Now moving forward with the Ghost Venom, finds a nice hook on the Lord Tubington. Ranger is very, very low. Neutral Zoro forced to flee on the backside of the fight. XD losing it, chases him down and revives Brissy. This could be the game, Sunny. They're charging up mid, but they are still pushing into the Baron. Lord Tubington still has in it. Asuna does not, as he's recalling. He was able to crash a wave. DPT could try to look for the end top. Shen ultimate is not yet available, but Brissy does have TP. I think all they're going to get here is maybe just this top inner and a few jungle camps, if even that.
Yeah, it's kind of tough with the set still alive and no Shen ultimate online and, you know, like no Baron on the side of DBT to be like, oh yeah, they're going to end the game here. I do think that if it's only one person alive and the health bars on the side of DPT are, you know, looking a bit healthier at the beginning or at the end of the fight that broke out, then I think that it's absolutely a, you know, like run it down mid kind of scenario. But I mean, the wave was coming all the way from their base mid. The top lane wave was only a singular wave. I don't think that even a support Seraphine would struggle too hard to clear that under a tower. So they do just opt out to deny as much gold, and they're going to reset for this fourth Mountain Dragon of the game. We will see if MNC is finally able to secure Soul, or if Gargura is able to deny it once again.
All right, Sunny Blues. Gargura has Flash.
I'm betting all
Smite.
my channel points on the fact that he can steal Dragon again. All right.
I feel like 3 times in a row is genuinely insane, but I also think that this is the play where TPT can fight finally. They don't need to play over the wall. So they finally pull out the Mountain Drake. This thing is dropping quick. It's already half health. If I'm just thinking to Cyclonez, I'm saying we fight this. Asuna immediately finds a huge ultimate onto the backline. They're taking very, very low, but Goblin is untouched. He's free hitting with the Rat-a-tat-tat. Asuna very low. Ranger very, very low. Neutral Zero forced to kite back as Gargura finds his way back into the fight. Collects 300 gold with double kill. Neutral Zero was able to trade another kill onto Venom and a reset 2 charges of his ultimate. And now I see losing it in the stealth, looking for the enemy mid laner once more. Neither team wants to touch this Drake. Gargura still has Smite available, but they will not take. Oh no, they did take it. They did actually secure the Drake there.
Gargura did secure the Dragon for the side
so
of
now
DPT.
Baron.
I mean, 3 Mountain Drakes makes even the Diana ridiculously tanky, right? She only has one fully completed actual tank item, and obviously she is itemizing into the Sunfire, but it makes the Diana remarkably tanky for her itemization. And even the Thresh, right? Support items, I think that the passives that they give you are really good. I do not think that when it comes to like sheer value of the stats that they give in terms of defense are all that fantastic. But like now the Thresh is going to be ridiculously tanky as well for having 3 Mountain Dragons. And I mean, if they get 4, I think that the Diana is able to just face tank everything from MNC and just like walk directly to the backline or just walk straight to Baron Nashor, right? Like if they're already on an objective and they're looking to contest, I think that there's not very many like reliable ways to actually stop a tank like the Diana.
Ooh, Goblin in the stealth, getting really cheeky here, is able to flash away from the Seraphine ultimate. Venom now rooted. Gargura tanking up. Asuna only finds one person with the ultimate. Asuna's already dead, but Venom will be traded as well. Now Thim onto the backline, but Goblin is here, and he is huge. Finding the kill on the enemy AD carry. Lord Tubington is next. Neutral Azuriel, you will now fall. The game will almost certainly end if DPT is able to catch and push these waves, which their wave states are honestly really, really bad. And Neutral Azuriel is going to be able to cut the mid wave. He's moving there now. So it's going to be Baron for DPT, but the game is not over yet. We go again, Sonny. We're going to get another Drake fight.
And I mean, Goblin on this Twitch, like I didn't highlight it last fight. I really should have, but the way that he played both of those fights, waiting for key cooldowns to be used, wait for kind of like positioning to kind of be solidified from both teams before he comes out of stealth, before he unleashes with Rat-a-tat-tat, is so crucial for how these fights are going. I think that it's very impressive that he's showing such, I guess like restraint is the best word, or like discipline. I think is very impressive.
Yeah. No, I mean this is his champion for sure. Piloting it very well in the later stages. Took him a while to get online. It's like Shmi said in the chat. It's like Rob ate a snack or Rob ate breakfast. The classic Goblin did not eat meme makes its return. But yeah, he's playing really really well now, and I think it kind of just speaks to the executability of the front to back style, where you have Shen Diana on the engage, and then you have your Twitch in the backline. Whereas Mystic Ninja Cyclones playing a little bit more of a dive composition, looking to enable the Samira and some pop off moments. When Thim tried to go in, he got two tapped by the Twitch.
I mean, that'll happen. That will indeed happen. And obviously, Goblin is the Twitch expert, so he has built the Ginsu's Rage Blade. I don't know, like, when it became necessarily meta to be building Ginsu's, but it is, from what I know,
Actually losing it, caught out here in the middle lane. The flash to advance, but Prissy with the ultimate next. He's losing it with the pop-off play. He finds the kill in the 1v2 onto neutral as well. The Ahri didn't have enough damage to take down the Akshan. And now with Baron, it's a 5v4 and the Mountain Soul is on the table. DPT, the comeback is looking more and more real by the second.
And I mean, it's at the point in the game, right? The Shen is level 18, I'm pretty sure. It's kind of like hard to see. Yeah, probably 18, but like Shen's ultimate, the shield increases based on the allies missing HP. So like he effectively doubled the HP that Akshan had left there. And I mean, Akshan also has 2 MR items built, Wit's End and Merc Treads. There's no one-shotting him for the Ahri here.
Yeah, Venom finds the flay and the hook onto Lord Tubbyton. Rissy on the backline, Goblin doing Giga Damn from the backline, as you would say, and putting a bow on this. It's going to be the solo laners of Mystic Ninja Cyclones looking to defend in a 5v2. No Mountain Soul needed. DPT looking to end the game right here. 40 seconds on Tim. Brissy goes in, but is immediately chunked. Will be taken very, very low as Asuna finds the Hitmaker, and they find the kill. That might be enough to save the game. Asuna still alive, now retreating back to the Nexus. It's a beautiful Zhonya's from Neutral Zero, but what can he do now? He can flash away. Asuna back in, finds the flash, engage onto XD using it, but he's not able to secure the kill. Goblin hitting the Nexus towers, but he's taken very low, and Asuna with the Haymaker shut down 11 and 5. Asuna says, I am not done yet, pushing DPT back towards the Drake. They will collect the soul, but the soul laners are following them. Asuna has TP. There is a possible flank board in the river. Both teams now a little bit cautious, moving towards the Drake. Goblin very low, Gargura very low, Venom also very low. I'm not sure that they can do this. Tubbyton and Thim moving towards the Drake now. This could be catastrophe for DPT. Ranger is now on the map. DPT looking to take a recall. If any vision is on Gargura, they can just go ahead and start up the Drake. They're really, really scared of the Smite, but Diana does not have Flash. They should know that, so they're going to go ahead and start this up. And Mountain Soul now going to be claimed by Mystic Ninja Cyclones. Awesome at neutral Azurill with the Hail Mary base defense, and it turns out huge.
And I mean, what was really unfortunate there is that whenever Ahri, neutral Azura on the Ahri Zonia, then Goblin actually tossed his W onto her, and even though that she like flashed out and did not get hit by the poison, Asuna walked into it, which caused Goblin to take like 2 tower shots immediately, and then another tower shot like later, like, you know, effectively chunking him out, and basically meaning that they don't want to look
Goblin just opens up on the neutral Azurill. Thim trying to keep his teammates alive with E, but Lord Tubbyton is down. Ultimate, Flash, and Heal all still available. The support for the Cyclones will be down, and now a 4v5 base defense. This is a tall task. Ranger goes ahead and pops the ultimate to clear the wave. Brissy, huge, level 18 on the Shen, extremely tanky. And they now have really no answer for this Twitch. There's no team fight threat as Brisky's going to TP all the way up to the top lane to cut the wave. Right as Gar goes in, and he will be chunked. Taken very low, neutral Zero here, he pops the ultimate and the Zhonya's. And now Venom flashing forward, was not able to find the hook, but Goblin with the damage. What a saga this series has been. Fim 3-7-10 in the game is able to find the Infernal Trigger. Can he pop off to save the base? But no, because actually losing it, and Goblin are free hitting the Nexus. It's a 2-1 victory for Don't Press Tab in an absolute banger fashion, Sunny Blues.
I mean, that was just an incredible showing from Goblin, and I said it in the game, right? What he said about Lucian, and it looks like if he really wants to win, he's just gonna pull out Twitch if it is not banned. So I'm taking notes on that personally because that was a very impressive showing from Goblin and even the rest of his team in Game 3.
Yeah, super, super impressive. Really exciting to watch. Definitely want to give my props to both of these teams mid laners for making an entertaining series. And Gargura, man, I don't know like what kind of switches this guy has on his keyboard, but he must have that super reactive because that smite key was golden, man. Super, super impressive. Um, Gar played very, very well throughout the series, and then Goblin obviously coming alive, and Venom on Thresh, man, finding the hooks, finding the flays, looking very, very good overall on his signature champion. And after that banger of a series, I do just want to, of course, thank you all for watching the Summit Premier Esports League stream. We will have more banger series on this Twitch channel soon, hopefully. So thank you all for watching and have a good rest of your night. If you're like me, I'll see you in the Trash Talk channel. Good night.